whatever they do, I will have a dick waiting for you. Blowing the bag out, show them what they do. I'll be right here fucking on you. Or Miss Lady, how you doing? On that Mac tonight, that Mac, no we can see it. Nothing, days of days before the night is over. Oh, as I buy the place to play, get the booty on the front line, fade my day. It's alright. How can I help you, Saf?
Hello. Oh, hello.
How can I help you, Saf?
I was just chilling right now. I know, like you said yesterday, I was gonna have extra time for yapping.
Yeah. Today's not necessarily yapping, but it's open call-ins. How can I help you?
Oh, very eventful end of the year, kind of, wasn't it?
As eventful as the end of the year can get. But we have gotten confirmation that bullying works since Tim Balls just fell out of the race. Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor. Somali crisis. And the embarrassment of the fraud has him now not seeking re-election.
Oh, that's a shame. I can't believe that happened. I can't believe.
It's so crazy, but it's not. He deserves it. Couldn't happen to a more corrupt individual. Aside from that, god damn, there's too much porn on my timeline. Besides that,
I can't believe it.
it's persona non grata, more or less. Becca Sachi.
Um. Ooh, dang.
Take your time. Find your words.
I'm sorry. I was also distracted by things in the timeline.
That's not the one I wanted.
I think the oh, excuse me.
Here we go.
I think the only drama I've been seeing is like related to like Zenless Zone Zero and how it's not made for a certain group of people.
Well, after the CA dog incident, where they attempted to get him, Giguk, and one other fucking person nobody's ever heard of to try and promote Blue Archive, it is probably the better way of the world that it stays Coomers for the Coomers. The alternative would be a nightmare.
Well, it's like people saying, well, it's not made for these perverts.
I'd argue that Zenless Zone in any other Holyverse game was made for perverts. They are gooners through and through, and they don't like posers coming into their area.
Yeah, but you know, the denial of the river in Egypt.
Well, can't control everyone.
I do think it's kind of funny seeing people trying their best to jump through hoops and say like they're not the weird one here.
It will be the case for time immemorial that annoying people are going to always say that they are the target audience. And they are in fact not. In fact, my fate on Wick is going to be a base example of why they should have left gaming alone. Because it presupposes that it must be Asmund Gold's fault that all these people have negative opinions about women in video games.
Oh, of course not. Well, the thing about that is like, you know, I know not everybody's experiences are universal, but you know, I've had to deal with like, you know, as a woman, I had to deal with other women saying like, "Oh, you play video games? That's stupid."
In this case, the debate is much more like women are responsible for ruining video games, and Asmund Gold's the fault for putting that in people's heads.
No. I'd say it's a specific type of woman that kind of, you know, ruined it for everybody.
Exactly. A certain kind of a certain kind of woman, a certain kind of man, a certain kind of transgender, a certain kind of person. Has nothing to do with Asmund Gold and has everything to do with the kind of people that were responsible for the problem in the first place.
It's the type of people that, like, you know, get off on breaking people's toys.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it's going to be my responsibility to argue later. Why is my timeline full of so much porn?
Yeah, why is that? That's crazy, Coil.
I don't even follow that many not safe for work artists. It's just almost all of it. Ah, sad.
I only see it every once in a while. Like, once in a while, I might get, like, Rooch the Bad Boobs.
If I wanted to Roosh the Bad Boobs, I could actually just go to somebody who could draw them for me. They already gave me one piece of art. I could ask them to get another. That ain't no problem. But it's like I'm trying to scroll down the timeline to pay attention to what's going on, and it's like titties, 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 news story, titties, 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 news story, titties, titties, titties.
Usually I have to go to the account that's talking about it. Usually they'll retweet whatever topic is going on.
As we all know, the internet's for porn. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Have you ever felt reforging?
In the case, is there something that you have on your mind that you really want to talk about?
Oh man. I mean, I guess the only thing I've been thinking about is just like trying new things this year and trying to, you know, do things to better myself, because I know I was pretty down last time we talked, but you know, I'm trying to do little things at a time to, improve my situation.
Well, I'm always here, and I'm always listening. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not always watching, but I am paying attention as best as I can.
And I think, this year, well, when I started this year, I wanted to start playing games I never had the time to look at. And one of those is Mega Man X.
Okay.
And I thought I would be kind of bad at it. It always kind of I was apprehensive on trying it because I was like, oh, you have to do all these precarious movements.
Mm-hmm.
But slowly and surely, I'm getting used to it. I think playing Cave Story a long time ago kind of helped me with that.
Okay. When do you plan on starting? Have you already started?
I have some ROMs, but I started with X Dive because it was on sale. The offline version, if you've heard of it. I started playing that Zenless Zone Zero because they give you a new character for free, and I was like, I'll try it, but I didn't want to put it on my phone because I didn't have enough room for it. But luckily, they had a PC version where I didn't have to download the Epic Store for it, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. This seems like a lot of bullshit on South Street. Just constricting Cody, body room, a punch of Chiquani, a giant tall horn, Hour of Faith, which is only 354 strength. Seems doable. But yeah, I would say for your situation, just keep putting yourself in new situations where you feel that you're comfortable with dipping your toe in, and then you'll be fine. Either way, if you don't have anything necessarily to talk about with the debate I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna let you go for a moment, okay?
Yeah, it's fine. It's just that I didn't know. Did you do a debate before? Because I'm trying to remember.
Yes, so I did the WhickTv debate with Aiden as my partner for the transgender debate. This is a solo one-on-one this time.
Oh, okay.
I take it you didn't necessarily look into what I was talking about on Sunday before we ended up getting to the.
I heard what you talked about on Sunday.
Yeah, so this would be the second WhickTv debate.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go for a moment. You just think about what it is you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it again on Sunday.
All right.
Okay. Move to the audience. I don't have to go nowhere. Beep. So, what's the likelihood of Irrelevant doing the whole stick of ignoring everything said against him and just going, I'm right, cause shut up? I don't know. I just don't go on unmoderated debates or debates that I'm not responsible for the microphone control of because I don't trust my opponent. And I specifically asked for Wick to do this because I want it to be seen on a live camera. I want there to be a feedback, because I looked into Irrelevant and I saw that not a single thing that he posts is currently live on any fucking platform. I have to double check and see if it's on Kick, because I have not found his content there. And if he is not on there, then it is the case that he's hiding. He's hiding.
Go play whatever I want you to play. Don't ever talk again.
He's hiding from me. And then go find him. Because he ain't on Kick. Say that much. X. Actually, no. Wait. Okay. So yeah, he does actually in fact have a Kick account. His content is not properly there. He is not currently live right now. And he's just here, existing in this space. Which is interesting. I didn't look hard enough, I guess. It is what it is. Saved myself from making a bad argument that I was planning to make earlier. I'd really like to think that he'd be willing to admit to some points, but I know how stubborn can be like this. Admitting some points might make you seem that you were right, I mean. Well, the way that I look at it, Bogdan, a proper debate isn't for me to convince him of what he's wrong about. It's for me to fact-check the things that he said, and to find out whether or not he is going to remain consistent on his point. So, if he goes in for his stuff, if he goes into this debate with the intention of trying to obfuscate from the original argument he makes, I'm just going to read verbatim what he said. And I'm going to make him respond to what he has to say. Because it is the case that the viral clip is one thing, but what he said in his broadcast is another. And now that I have access to that broadcast that I was looking for, I'm going to go ahead and start doing that right now. We're going to find the original viral moment, and we're going to dissect what he was saying at the time. Because now it's the 5th. This original take came from December 29th. TikTok debates, Profile and Epstein. Yellow shirt, yellow shirt, yellow shirt.
People consume like 38% of our healthcare spending. Like, fucking not. To show how games used to be good,
Wanna go clips?
I'm waiting for these questions, Pip. You can by all means call in and ask me directly live while we're going through this. The link is pinned. Okay. This should be the original VOD in question. Same shirt, same clip. Should be proper same chatters. This is December 29th. 7 days ago. 7 days ago would be December 29th.
Or like you're like trying to have sex with them is presumably the thing? I never understood this, but I don't know. I guess I'm not rich, and maybe that's a part of the reason why.
Does Bruno Mars is gay? Are you calling irrelevant Bruno Mars? I don't understand.
Girl's boyfriend blows up her phone while she's clubbing with Rampage Jackson after somebody in chat allegedly texted her man. He's not dating them? Oh, well, they implied that he did.
I never had a boyfriend.
I'm your first boyfriend.
So that's just a hoe. That's all we're looking at here. So much like the people of old, none of the content actually remains actual content. It is instead, hey guys, we're going to pal around on the internet and we're going to look at clips from Reddit and TikTok and say what we think about the world because we're looking at other people living it. Basic classic case example of an inside boy not being firmly affixed in the upright position, I guess.
I'm gonna treat you like a princess.
Somebody texts his man, tells her that she's in a club, talking to Rampage Jackson, getting woo-woo in the ear. He starts blowing it up because she's lying for fucking clout. However, that's not what we're here for.
Evidence. A fan of mine drove to the business for the next. Are you saying the Asmongold clips are being voted down in LSF or aren't?
What is this video? I don't even know what this. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Are.
That San are upset. It's because what you think is extremism is actually not only is it not extreme, but this is the viewpoint that I think the majority of people have. I think the majority of Americans are fucking tired. We are sick and fucking tired of a weaponized Department of Justice that is used to insulate bad actors, fraud, treason, and other types of seditious,
Name one act of treason that was insulated.
unlawful behavior that is totally fucking unacceptable.
Hyper relevant into LSF. I think this would be the very first time I've ever done this. No, maybe something like that. 0. This one, 13
Name searching ourselves.
hours ago.
Irrelevant calls out Asmongold for shitting on women lashes while doing the exact same thing himself. True.
Yeah. Seems like Ethan Klein. Yeah, anti-Son seems to be doing okay. Well, also, I feel like in this clip, because I watched it on Twitter, and we'll get to it in a moment, I feel like it doesn't explain or show what Asmongold actually said that triggered my response. So I also imagine that there's going to be a lot of people who just don't take to this clip because it's particularly, like it doesn't have that added context.
It's
like here.
So I have the context irrelevant. No one knows what exactly pissed you off and triggered you from the clip to the context. Don't you worry, buddy. That's why I'm on your channel looking. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Secondary window. 2 times you were wearing the shirt. Here and here. So which one? Which one is the case? Technically also here. Which one is the case? We're going to figure it out.
These
Yes, ma'am. This is 911. Where are you at right now?
she's being recorded and she's doing this.
This is her. This is her. This is a person with a certified from the Behavioral Science Board. That's what you do. Look at this abuse. Look at this.
So it's not here. So by process of elimination, it must be irrelevant. Don't worry.
Sure as fuck like.
This is exactly what I said that I wanted it for when I asked around if somebody had the clip. We're going to find it. Because if it's not on your channel, then I guess it's just nowhere. Here we go.
so Keir Starmer goes.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're a channel that just reacts to everything. There's always going to be a lot of stuff that's not an excuse not to watch it.
It's so annoying.
Just a Game Grumps reference, I suppose, but I'm kind of not focused on anything that's not necessarily focused on me being in kill mode.
I'm not getting this. Only there's 300 posts. Pro-Ukraine rally on Florida bridge concedes that this...
He looks at the chart care shit, then he goes to the video.
The only time there was a girl in a story is because she was wearing a fucking bikini. That's it. What? That's right.
Bro, that's not even like good. Like this, like what? I know he's like being over the top, but like.
So if you knew that he's being over the top, why did you say in your video, "I'll debate anyone who breathes air and believes that women are feminists ruin gaming like this"? You know that he's being over the top, and yet you still posted this as though you did not think that it was anything other than him yucking the yum live on fucking air to get as many people to react to his clip as possible for him to farm it for money. So we're just farmers?
It's just lame, bro.
Games that are made to just be slop that's enjoyable to everyone.
Yep. Bruh. Not to knock any particular type of game.
What?
Okay.
What?
Not to knock any particular type of game, because I think all game genres are beautiful. I've played
Shut the fuck up.
games
What?
across a ton of different genres, but my brother in Christ, you grinded mounts on World of Warcraft for like 20 fucking years.
This was not our destiny. Times change.
This is the soyest shit I've ever seen.
Imagine irrelevant. Imagine if you were a person who played Warlords Draenor. Imagine if you were a person who played any MMORPG or ARPG with other people in a community and you all liked the same thing. Imagine if you could take yourself back like a quarter of a century. Imagine if you could go back 25 years, 30 years, back to when gaming was peak, because they didn't have breast milk thieves at a company, because they didn't have people who completely obsessed over the numbers that they have against their competitor games, that they banned people from speaking about them in the office and inevitably lose their positioning to them, because they're hyper-focused on how to stick microtransactions into a mobile version of the games that made them popular from their origin source, to the point that they are then biting on Twitter about it, telling other people, "Hey, yo, bro, I ain't gotta work no more in this sector, but you do, so stay on your J, bro." Imagine if you could go back to that time, where you remember what it was like to be a part of something, and you would probably realize it was the coolest shit in existence. But you probably don't think that because you don't play games. You don't play games. You think it's the sorriest shit imaginable because you weren't there. It's not your bag. And that's okay. But I'm going to actively make fun of you for it, because it means you have nothing to do with the actual hype. Because it was hype. We all know that Blizzard has made movies out of their cinematics, because they're really good at the cinematics that don't necessarily reflect the in-game experience of the game. But boy, does it feel hype watching it.
Tim just watching the trailers?
Yeah, he's reacting to the trailers. Dry, but hey, it's our job to make it interesting and funny. Have something to say about the content. What do you think about it?
The world is healing. But the fate is yet uncertain.
I don't understand, like, this guy's complaining that there are things that are not, like, super dark? I don't...
No, he's complaining that we're in a time period where things are made to pander to a group of people that don't necessarily belong to the thing that was the original source. And where it is possible to try and grow an audience as best as you can, it is usually best to try and to focus on the target audience. I don't know how you missed that when he said that. I understand the way he did it flippantly is that he said it as a joke, and he said it brazenly, purposefully to get you to react to it, but making things that were meant for a male audience and were desirable to a male audience, but still didn't necessarily push out women who also thought it was cool, is something that Warlords of Draenor was supposed to do. Same thing with all the follow-up expansions, and the same thing with World of Warcraft itself in general. It's not supposed to be chest-beating testosterone man shit, but it's the clear difference between, here's a story arc, and, hey guys, dragons! Dragon mounts! Watch all the dragon mounts! Watch the cutscene, look at how good it is. There's a difference. But you wouldn't know, because you don't play games!
Oh no, because he complains about this trailer.
We shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
It's also possible. It's also possible that he could just be trolling you, you know. That's also a choice, but...
I don't even think I need to say anything. But let's hear the rest of it. That's fine. That's okay.
I don't understand. If you like really, really, like, dark, edgy themes, just play Warhammer. It's literally superior to that old, retarded WoW shit. Warhammer...
Except that it's been infected by the exact same retarded shit that infected WoW in general. So it's technically not dark, and people are trying to rewrite it as though it's not dark. And add things that have never been a part of context, because Games Workshop is tantamount to corrupt and destroy their own fan base, the same way as the Something Trench developers.
Warhammer is literally superior. I don't why are you...
And maybe he doesn't like Warhammer. Maybe he doesn't like Warhammer, relevant.
You settling with just dog shit. And if you really like it that much, do the Warhammer Fantasy. If you like fantasy that much, do Warhammer Fantasy. It's better. Better magic systems, better themes, better everything, better races. Like, makes no sense. Like, dude is literally part of the problem. It was like the Nick Fuentes conversation that Destiny had, where Destiny's like, bro, you're complaining about other people coming in and changing the culture, yet you admit America isn't the way that you want it to be. It doesn't have the culture you want, so you're coming in and you're changing the culture. Like,
pause. What happened to gaming during the time period where we let in the tourists and we let in the aficionated and the opinionated to decide to tell people who had been there for years that they were doing gaming wrong, that they were doing camaraderie wrong, that they were doing material wrong? That's right. They told them, you're an incel, you don't deserve to have this, we need to make this for everybody, and then they tried to push them out. That's what happened. They tried to push them out. Purposefully. They purposely tried to push them out. Trench Crusade. Thank you, Master Wolf. They actively told them, people like me, people like Asmongold, that you don't deserve to have the things that you have. Which is pretty sad, because if you had somebody invade your hobby, change it from the inside out, and then tell you that you don't belong, and you then actively either make a new space, and they invade that one too, or you say, no, fuck off, there are rules here, you don't get to change them and break them, the invaders became the people who are now running the asylum. What are you talking about? Did you forget that? It's got a very famous name. People can't stop invoking it. And also, duh, Nick Fuentes is an invader. It is literally everyone's job to stop him from co-opting everything, but nobody has an argument to go against him. Nobody has an argument to go against him because they continue to act as deplorables. They continue to say everyone is deplorables. Then they say that they don't see them and that they don't matter and they don't exist. Thus pushing people further down the pipeline because you push them towards them because you won't actually listen to what they're saying and then combat what they're saying. You just call them all Nazis and say they shouldn't be listened to, which then brings people to ask them, why are they trying to be silenced? And then they just win them over by having more charisma than you. That doesn't mean that I agree with them. I'm just analyzing the problem correctly. And all of this would be noticeable because you don't play games.
he's doing the same exact thing. He's complaining about fucking World of Warcraft. He wants to change games into something else that he specifically wants. There's already stuff that accommodate what the fuck he wants. He just doesn't want to actually...
I mean, if there are things that Asmongold wants, what he wants is for people to make things that he actually wants. It's a little bit of a backwards idea here, Irrelevant. He doesn't want to change the games. No, not particularly. He wants the games to change for him, which you think would be the same thing. But no, he is a customer. They used to make things that he had wanted. They then changed what they made, and he does not want to consume what they're currently making. He wants them to return to making the thing that they were originally making. So, company that sells candied apples. I love these candied apples. They got butterscotch, they got cherry red, they got green apple lime, they've got lemonade, they've got my wife's coochie. It's delicious. Lick it all day. Company changes from candied apple company to banana pops. Man, I used to be here when it used to be fucking candied apples, bro. Well, we think that to get a modern audience, we should start selling banana pops. Nigga, I want no fucking banana pops. Further in the future, you know what I would really like? A good candied apple store. You know who used to make really good candied apples? The Candied Apple Store. But guess what the Candied Apple Store makes now? Banana pops. I don't fucking want banana pops. I want candied apples. This guy is complaining, saying that he wants fucking candied apples when there's like other candied apple companies that make things out there, but they don't make the candied apple they want. Motherfucker doesn't want peanut apple brittle. Motherfucker doesn't want dried apples. Motherfucker doesn't want apple squares from Japan. He wants the candied apples that came from the Candied Apple Company. Certainly, it should be the case that he should go to other places that can produce something similar to it, but what he wants, the name brand, is not the same from what has been changed. And he would like them to return to making what they made before under that original name brand. Now substitute Candied Apple Store for World of Warcraft. Substitute Banana Pop for Modern Retail WoW. Add in Classic WoW. And then make clear the connotations. Boom, there's your argument. He wants to return to a time where retail WoW wasn't dog shit. Where they respected his time. Where they respected his money. He doesn't want to necessarily play non-stop Classic on his camera. Even though he could. And he has. Probably still does, occasionally. But it's seasonal based. So what he's supposed to do between the seasons when the seasons are down? Nothing? No, he talks and he does reactions. But that's beside the point. He wants to go back to a time where retail WoW wasn't dog shit. Classic WoW, relatively, depending on who you're debating it with. If you look over at Soda Poppins and OnlyFans 1, 2, and if he ever returns again to do a 3, he wants to go back to a time where you actually had fun playing online with people and not having to do what all of us have to do, which is going to become a basis of our conversation, which is having to figure out who is a safe person to be around and who is somebody who's going to try and co-opt your experience. But you don't seem to understand that. Don't play games!
Like, I don't know, bro. This is just retarded. He's just a retarded, like, nostalgia loser. That's all he is. The only way that he will be happy is if he cuts 20 years off of his life, he goes back in time, 20 years, and then fucking plays World of Warcraft again. Like, these people should never be accommodated in society. They're just fucking losers who need to grow up.
Pause. A customer who wants a product is a fucking loser who should be ignored in society because he is a paying customer who has the money to afford the experience that he is asking for and wants the company to make the thing that he is asking for. When people who don't play the game, that aren't asking for it, are being coddled to, and thus they're losing money, time, and experience to a game that does make what it wants for its fan base, does listen to them, and is winning in the marketplace when they have clearly lost. This is your brain on the kind of shit that was happening inside of Blizzard. That exact mindset is why they lost to Final Fantasy XIV. In terms of taste and style, the customer is always right. In the case in which the customer also happens to be somebody who is the definition of a whale, and the choice is to make things that the customer wants, versus making something that appeals to the broadest audience possible, then you are responsible for what happens next, which is bankruptcy. Even with making Classic WoW, they still struggle to find people for numbers. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous proposition, irrelevant. Because there's something that people do when they want that experience. You know what it is? I help run them. It's called a private server. But unfortunately, they have disallowed that, more or less. If you go hush-hush about it, I think you could run one. But it probably wouldn't be enjoyable because you want other people to play it because it's a fucking MMO. Otherwise, you're playing in a dead world. Just like most private leagues. Most private servers. You want people to be in it. People don't necessarily get in it the same way now because of people like, well, unfortunately you. And so your supposed position is that he's a loser and he should be ignored. Okay. I know where the clip starts. I know how you finished it. But let's see what led up to that rant, shall we? Hold it in your mind. It's going to be important for later.
The fuck place do you have to talk about real gaming or good games or manly games?
100%.
You're flying around on multicolored dragons.
No, because that one was a store mount. I didn't buy that one. He's thinking of the Fey Dragon from Warlords of Draenor. I don't have that one. I didn't buy that shit.
Grinding the 1 out of 50,000 cuck drop to get the next golden lizard thing that you can hop your ass around Azeroth on.
Oh, but hey, guys, no, I'm not really gaming, like building a factory inside of a factory inside of a factory inside of a third factory after I was building factories. Oh, no, of course not. No, that's real gaming. Oh, yes.
Literally, in comparison, I would absolutely make that argument, yes.
I hope you do. Nigga, I hope you do. Nigga, I hope you do. It's the definition between a person who farms all the time versus a person who plays an autism simulator. Both of them are gaming. The difference is the fucking autism simulator cuck thinks he's sick here and mocks the people who spend all their time playing 6 to 16 hours a day, actually playing with other people in the same environment that have similar mindsets, chasing drops, the chase uniques, and actually having a good time the same way they also have a good time. You're going over here saying your experience is lame, your experience is cringe. Meanwhile, it's the same fucking source. To shame that means that you don't get it. Bitch, I hope you make this on camera. I hope you make this argument on camera. I hope you make this argument on camera. What other reason would a person play games but to have fun doing the loop? It doesn't matter if it's a cozy game. Doesn't matter if it's Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Doesn't matter if it's Barbie Island Adventure. Doesn't matter if it's hatred. Technically a little bit, but for sake of argumentation. Doesn't matter if it's hatred or some beat 'em up or shoot 'em up. If you have fun playing the game, then you are technically gaming. However, it really depends on the level of affinity and whether or not it's something you can pick up and put down and then you're willing to shame other people about. Oh, my thing isn't cringe, but his thing is cringe. There's only 2 times when you can make the cringe argument. Which is 1, when Burt Peanut and any other broadcaster like that basically makes a game fucking unplayable because they have permanently corrupted the player base and its mindset. And 2, when you're being asked to pay for money to have a similar experience to somebody on a game because it destroys the game's integrity. Why should I respect somebody who bought a store mount versus somebody who earned the drop and earned the pet through doing the content grind? At that point, you're making fun of people who play OSRS. And some of them are richer than us. Definitely richer than me. Definitely richer than you. Not as rich as Aspen Gold. Probably not as rich as that. Probably not as rich as Steven. But that is literally the case of games that grind. That is the case of most of the things that are viral. They are, in fact, Korean MMO grinders. Or Western-styled grinders. If you're making fun of that, you're making fun of the sense of gaming, bro. Thus, what the fuck we finna talk about when I get in your ass about it? Okay. Moving.
One is you're doing actually the same thing over and over and over and over again. And then the other one, at least you're innovating and doing something new, running new content. And World of Warcraft is run this same raid for the 50th time because World of Warcraft is a dog shit game. I do not care what anybody says.
So you either have played it or you haven't played it and you don't get it. Because unfortunately the thing here about ARPGs and MMORPGs is that the content can change only based on the incoming people about it and in it, but it's still a learning experience that eventually changes you and how you approach things. The content may not change, but the people who do the content do change. They all have to learn at some point. And if they don't learn then, they're gonna learn today. Because of this, You could say, hey, people are bored and they don't want to play this dog shit game. Guess what? If that were the case, they wouldn't be asking to play a classic WoW! There are people who, in fact, do enjoy doing the same thing over and over again. That's why we call them autism simulators. They do the exact same thing as this autism cube. In Path of Exile terms, this switch here is breach. These knobs here, this is expedition. These buttons, some of this is ritual. Also abyss. This one right here is this general constant mapping with the build. And this one here, this one is pinnacle bosses. And then this one here, this divot, you just slide your thumb in multiple times over and over again. This is the shit that you could be able to do in Path of Exile 1, which gets even more insane. And the same in perpetuity for all games that are ARPGs and MMORPGs. If you're in the mindset where you think that new content is what pushes people to keep playing a game and not the affinity they have for the game, the company who makes the game, the developers who make the game, and everything else that goes along with it, then you have another fucking thing coming. If you're only about new content and new experiences, then you are chasing things like an fucking optics cock. Because, unfortunately, despite everybody being a form of variety streamer, and as we're about to demonstrate, you don't do any kind of fucking gaming because there is no gaming on your channel. Show me where it is. Show me where it is. Show me where it is. All this goes back to 4 months. Politics, 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 politics. Path of Exile 2! Politics, 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 politics. Almost all of your takes are politics. And sorry, playing a game once does not make you a gamer. Playing the game frequently and your identity flowing around, your ability to experience things with other people is ultimately what makes you a gamer. Because I'm not going to call a person a dentist if they've only read a dentistry book once. I'd call a person a dentist if they spent a significant amount of time studying it and being a part of it and consuming it. In this case, the gamer is a consumptive identity based on the things that you intake. In order to be able to judge some shit and know some shit, you gotta play some shit. Gotta play it a lot. This is a 7-hour and 12-minute VOD of you playing Path of Exile. Let's see. More than likely, it's your first time experience. You play the new patch, and you're playing a Fissure Druid.
Free weekend. I forgot about this. I have to do window capture. I might have to do. Oh damn. Dude, my game won't fucking start.
Hello.
Hold on. All right, I'm gonna join an open room inside of my.
Yes.
Inside of my thing. Druid. Here it is.
Not at this time, but
An open room in my thing.
tomorrow at 10 a.m.
I'm gonna be inside of a open channel inside of my Discord. So if people want to join and talk while we play or just hang out, it's up to
That was a call for my home job.
My name gonna be taken? It's not.
So, starts hardcore. Picks Druid.
What to do? I really don't know what the fuck to do. Probably should.
Is completely new to the game. Has no experience with the game. Is streaming just chatting in Path of Exile 2 with his chat room for them to join and talk in his Discord.
Started on hard. It doesn't matter. It goes softcore.
Starts hardcore, says it doesn't matter, starts softcore. So he is just a tourist. About to get his ass wrecked by the porcupine crabs because he's fighting every single minion.
What was the J-Stock debate? It was about, Does this count as me using a different weapon set?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Not very good at missing the threat, dodging and slamming, but hey, it's his first time playing. Almost was about to tank a slam to the face.
Smoking pipe helmet? Would you post in Discord when you join other streams? Oh, I should do that. What was your game of the year? G-Shield. There's another game that people thought might get game of the year. What was it?
Oh, he doesn't react like a fucking lolcow. We say, oh my god, it's so big. But good enough for you. But you play Path of Exile for a 7-hour stream. You get as far as Act 2. And somehow, while playing Path of Exile 2, it never occurs to you that the people that love doing this and like doing this kind of gaming are people that specifically have a great affinity for doing the same thing over and over again. Considering every single time that you play a new season, you must go through campaign. Same as if you were playing Diablo 2 Resurrected. You can't imagine that people who do the same thing over and over again would find ways to innovate the build and would also have the limerence that comes with the time difference in doing it. But you're disrespecting people who come from that origin. Yet on the same side of things, if you were playing Satisfactory, would you sit there and say, yeah, now you're really gaming with games? How about Oxygen Not Included? How about Don't Starve and Don't Starve Together? How about any autism simulator game ever? Because you just shit on all of them. So what do you usually play? Story-based games? One opinion.
I'll just fully take this fucking shit, okay? It is not a good game. Did it hold up like in the past? Was it a good game? It seemed that way. Yeah, it seemed like for like a 20-year-old game, yeah, it seemed pretty good. But like, bro, it's like, hey, let's limit how many raids you can do. What the fuck is this? Fucking DEI for people without a time to waste? This is so fucking retarded.
World of Warcraft is a theme park styled MMORPG. It means that it has a lot of stuff that you could potentially do, but it limits how much of you can do, so that you don't end up spending your time vegging out. I think that kind of system is cucked, because I have the limitations on what I decide is too much for me. But this was something that was the beginning of gaming. It was not necessarily the ultimate peak of gaming forevermore, but the hype moments from nostalgia, that's part of what keeps people playing it. Otherwise, you'd move on to the next thing, as this would be your gateway into getting into other things. Such as how people have flowed from WoW to Final Fantasy XIV. But I don't expect you to get that, because you don't play games! You don't play games on camera, you don't play them frequently enough to really understand. It doesn't connect to you.
Let's run this raid for the 50th time or whatever, because we can't run out that. We need to schedule it in our schedules when we raid with time raids. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's what they did. I'm sorry, did you miss OnlyFans too? Where the entire point of OnlyFans was to bring in non-World of Warcraft players and them learn World of Warcraft? That's half the reason of why it became content, because it came like a reality show. Mind you, I think the thing that should be most important is people making new connections, learning a new thing together, because then you can take that group of people and put them in any place, anywhere, at all times. But unfortunately, most people don't get that, because they don't understand content. You certainly don't understand the appeal of the content. That's alright, you're allowed to have your opinions, but I'm also allowed to call your opinions dog shit.
It's stupid. So yes, I'm gonna compare it to like Factorio, yeah. Yes.
Then you're retarded for bashing it because it's the exact same fucking thing, you gibbering baboon.
That is gaming. You don't like it, that's gaming. If you fucking grinding out fucking jerking off the same quest for the 100 millionth time is gaming, then Destiny putting like, I want to put a nuclear reactor here so that way I can power my facility over. Yeah, that's gaming too.
Give me a fucking break. Holy shit.
And yet, you missed the point where Destiny's trying to criticize him for what he's doing, claiming that what he's doing is not gaming. You missed that entirely.
Yeah, what they did was they tried to make a system so you had to like grind, right? And you couldn't grind at your own pace to make it so that way in order to get the stuff you want, you had to pay for multiple months of subscriptions. Because if they allowed you to do all of the content at your pace, you would be able to grind that shit like that. But they hard lock you out of, nope, you can't do this raid this many times per week for some fucking reason. Fuck.
It's a theme park game. Again, it encourages you to go around the game and experience multiple pieces of content. Compare this to OSRS, which is also a theme park game, but you have the ability to do certain pieces of content infinite times and certain other pieces of content not that many times. Some content you're time locked out of. Some content you can do all the time. And sometimes, some content, you could do it at any time, but if you do, you're gonna get PK'd. Yeah, it's all relative. It's all relative. It's all relative. It's ultimately a Korean MMO grinder system that is meant to stop you from burning your time out. You know, so you can go and do other things. But, systems are systems. It's very cut to try and get locked into specifics. We're talking about the generalities here. And generally speaking, you don't understand ball.
Fucking stupid.
Happened to every single video game is that women have gotten into video games and they've made them for women.
Here we go. Here we go.
According to entertainment software. This is I'm sorry. Oh, it's such a perfect thing, okay? Listen, go ahead. There's this concept called the male gaze, but don't waste your...
Of course it's the male gaze. I love hoes. I love sluts. I love looking at sluts. I want them dressed like that in video games, and I'm not sorry.
This is just so soy.
He is quite literally mogging to the camera. Yes. He's dealing with a person who's known for bad faith debating. Yes. He is doing it on purpose. Yes. But also, I can tell you, put that male in a string bikini, put him next to the woman who's also bodacious. Give me both of them. You're gonna sit there and say, oh, that's so soy too? Do you not have a libido? Are you gay? Would you rather preferred be men? Getting stuck on the joke and instead immediately spurting out. So, they lack the context of knowing that I was reacting and trying to make him sound soy and ridiculous as I clip-chimped him as a pause Andy. They won't understand the context. But with the context, it still sounds like a bitch may move.
It's literally just...
How dare people like things that they like in the content and bring it into their content? And if the game doesn't have it as physical material, then modding their game to make it as such. It's bad when it's women, but it's great when it's men. Cause male gaze and female gaze. It's all different, but it's all the same. And it's all better, but it was never yours, Chud. It belonged to us. As the Bayonetta superposition goes. Kukurio remains undefeated.
So soy. This idea, like what? This is the soyest shit in the world.
You do too. We all saw those documents. You like them more than I do.
To be fair, he is hitting back at Destiny in a way that makes sense there.
Yes! Yes, irrelevant, yes! It does make sense! How does the man who records women in the act of sexual intercourse without their consent? Do I sit here and say, man, this guy in the male gaze? What about you with your pornographic gaze? Making a person like John Walters fucking blush at the level of your creep shot. Getting sued over you effectively making unconsensual creep shots that you then share around with fucking minors. Yes, we're going to tone police that guy. Right there. We're going to tone police him while ignoring that motherfucker is getting sued for his level of goonerism. And that's the best you can muster? Oh, poor little tank.
You're trying to farm him right now saying this. I know what you're doing. It's not going to happen.
because when you see it, it's everywhere. Okay, this concept that everything in the world, especially
What's wrong with? Yeah, I want the chicks to be hot. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I'm a guy. I want hot chicks.
especially as a white guy, everything is made for you. And
yeah, of course I want it to be made for me. Why wouldn't I want something to be made for me? Fuck. Like, yeah, I'm a white guy. I want things made for me. Sure. Yeah, definitely. No doubt.
Response?
I don't know what drugs he's doing. It's just rotten.
It's not drugs. A customer wants games that appeal to them. The same way that female customers want games that appeal to them. He wants bodacious women. Some of the women also want bodacious women, but they want them to be nice to them. Some people want bodacious women that swing giant swords. Some people want to play a game endlessly that has a giant spear grid on it. What you're getting stuck on here is this thing that he wants is odious, and not the thing that's this thing that he wants somebody to sell him a product that appeals to what he wants. And if they don't sell him that, he doesn't buy it. You're getting stuck on the optics because you're missing the fucking point.
His brain. The idea is you can make products for different groups of people. All of the products don't have to be made for you. Whoa, that's crazy. And I know he's familiar with this concept because he's rich, but he doesn't buy rich people shit. A Porsche doesn't prevent you from buying a Toyota. It literally does.
But maybe he doesn't want those things and he wants a fucking Hyundai. Technically, he doesn't know. He'll know when he sees it, when he experiences it. You're getting stuck on things, Irrelevant. You're getting stuck on things.
Doesn't. So this idea that everything has to be made for you is just stupid and vapid. And that's the argument here.
A customer should, in fact, want things to be made for and appeal to them. That is something that they are allowed to have because I'm the one with the money in my wallet. If I don't want it, I don't buy it. You wouldn't know if I bought it or not unless I told you. And then, if I showed you what I was that I purchased with my money, you would not have the right to say the thing that you want is stupid and inane because guess what? Somebody made the thing that I wanted and I purchased it. They didn't make the thing that I wanted in that instance and I didn't purchase it. Enough people make that decision, a company goes bankrupt and a company gets rich. If you're going to sit there and say customers don't deserve to have things that are made for them, that they want to have appeal to them, then you are actively arguing that people shouldn't actually use their fiscal power. Which, I don't think that's a very intelligent thing to say as a sockdem. That's how you control capitalism, sir. The power is in your hands!
Who do you think plays video games? What was the most popular character made in Baldur's Gate 3? Oh, that's right. Human, male, European, warrior class, longsword weapon.
Okay.
Well, that wasn't necessarily because all those people were red-blooded males that wanted to fuck women. It's because people, when they wanted to play a CRPG for the first time, instead of making multiple fantasy character races, instead made character races that looked like them, but pretty. Which is to say, the people who would be very happy playing The Sims, you might as well go ahead and buy Enzoy, baby! Because you effectively want to make a character styler. And in that character styler, you are making a thing that looks like you. Because the appeal is that you want to play in a god game. Now, of course, it's not a god game, it's a CRPG, but that's the reason why people are making themselves in the game. That is not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true.
Okay, then counter. Who was the most popular character made in Stardew Valley? You want to have it a guess as probably a woman? Like, and?
I mean, the better question to have there, it wouldn't be what was the most popular character made in Stardew Valley. It would be who was the most romanced character in Stardew Valley. And there's only really 3 correct answers. 4 if you're gay. Therefore, you're missing the point. Technically, both of you are missing the point. He's being facetious. You're trying to match him on his facetiousness, and then you end up being stupid.
Now it's time to game. Okay? Oh, wait a minute. Is that Destiny's character? Wow. How about that?
You can customize your character in these games. This is just...
Did he choose to customize his character after he made it? No? Then that's kind of irrelevant to the point that you're making. Why are you spurring about it?
So dumb. The point is, like, Destiny's point would be the mere fact you can customize your character is proof that, hey, we can make games for different groups of people. It's pretty cool. For instance, I myself, I like playing a black character, light-skinned black character in video games, or black character if I have to pick. I like doing that. It creates a more enjoyable experience for me because I play RPGs and I like to pretend that whatever I want to play in that moment is the character in the world. I like to do that. And then game devs were like, yeah, bro, we got you. There's plenty of people who like this. This is how a lot of people play RPGs. We're going to allow you to customize your character.
Except that the thing that you're saying isn't the thing that you're saying, dude. You're not saying, I like to roleplay myself. You're saying, I like to roleplay as a better version of myself. Because that's what people end up doing with games that let them have deep customization tools. There's also people that look at a deep customization tool set and say, I'm going to make Shrek. And or whatever popular figure at the time happens to be relevant to the zeitgeist. Which is how we end up making characters that look like feet. And mutants. And ugly bastards. Which is ridiculous, because as much as you could say that's what developers want, most developers technically don't let you do that without you then also having to assign yourself to a system, which involves using pronouns. But pronouns are a choice. But the inclusion of them is that they are inclusive to a specific worldview. And I can promise you, most of those developers in the room with a person who would say, I'd like to have a deep customization system where I can make somebody's tits 10 times the size of my fucking head, are going to say, you're a misogynistic man-pig. But those same developers will turn around and say, yes, man-ass, bear sex! Which is kind of the problem, you see. The appeal is not the same. The ideal is not the same. And it's because they're using the exact same theory of lens. Namely, the female gaze, the male lens, and what should be most appealing to all people. Which is really fucking stupid, considering that, when you really actually think about it, considering what Larian put forward in their game, and what made it effectively a camp experience. And what is common in Dungeons & Dragons under the Wizard of Coast IP, especially in 5e. You ended up making a game that didn't really reflect what most people do. It had choices that only allowed for a certain outcome. And in that certain outcome, they had to program in the things that people wanted to be a part of that outcome. People didn't like the way that the game just ends, so they added an epilogue party. Some people didn't like certain scenarios, certain pieces of content, so they modded it. And, unfortunately, like the browbeaters and moral busybodies people are, those particular people who hated those mods decided to act as part and parcel to the liaisons of what the developers designed and what the audiences wanted for the mods, and tried to limit them from the mod sites. Bad when it's a woman, great and completely applicable when it's a man. Which in itself leads to some level of hypocrisy that you are ignoring inherently. Because you're only thinking in terms of yourself.
What's the problem with that?
There's no problem. Technically, all sides can still be appreciated. But it's your ridiculous tenuousness where you're trying to shit on the idea. Because the person that you're speaking against is supposed to be a proxy for, if not literally, Asmongold. Literally, Asmongold bad, I'm going to rage at the thing he's talking about because I find it ridiculous and I think he's dumb. Meanwhile, your answer demonstrates that you don't know ball. Or, you don't appreciate ball the way other people appreciate ball. You like what you like. That's cool. They like what they like. That's also cool. But you have the audacity to say, because they like what they like, they should be ignored. Sorry, little man, you don't decide that. The wallet does.
to be for you. If a woman looks a certain way, you criticize her because she's not appeasing to your cock. If a woman is doing...
Absolutely. Exactly.
The problem is this fucking animal does not realize he shits on everybody else, particularly women, for doing this exact concept that he's just brazenly like, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. He shits on like these leftists who are online who are like, oh, I hate all these straight cis het white dudes inside of my video games. That's bad. Grr. Right? That's literally what he spends 80% of his stream shitting on. Is these people every time he can.
Well, see, that depends. Do you have all that time to watch his content? You should know significantly. I believe that if you're going to shit talk somebody, you should know exactly what they said. I know what you said, because now we're at the clip.
But it's okay when you do it? Why?
I mean, here's the question. Why is it okay when you do it? Why is it okay when Destiny does it? Why is it okay when anybody tries to take a shit on anyone? Not just Asmongold, but anyone. Using their size as an argument for, look at all these people who agree with me. It's not acceptable. It's not okay. But y'all niggas don't care. You set the ground for this to be the poison that people would have to deal in. Whereas global warming, our only defense is to fight fire with fire. In gaming, our only defense is to fight content creator with content creator. And it is the case that Asmongold is right, despite the fact that you don't want to agree with him. Because you're not agreeing with the nature and the spirit of the argument. You're trying to pick and choose which ones sound least optically cut. And going from there.
Why? Oh, it's just because it's me. Oh, okay. Well, then you have no actual moral standing. You have no moral
What does morals have to do with anything concerning what I like in video games?
ground whatsoever. You're just like, I prefer this and I'm right because I'm me.
If I'm the one that decides what I like and what I choose to take my time consuming, yeah, the customer is always right in matters of taste and style. If he wants to spend all his time playing a 20-year-old video game, like many of you do, he is justified in doing so. Just as he is justified in playing never-ending autism simulators, while he then spurs out on camera with his jaw jittering at a mile a minute because he has done way too much coke. Excuse me. Accidental meth. Just like you are justified in playing whatever the fuck it is you're playing, because it's certainly not ARPGs. Not casually. Because you didn't know that there was a free weekend. Which means you probably jumped in to experience the first 3 days on the 12th to the 15th, like most people chose to. Kind of like how Bogdan did. But you're clearly not a regular gamer that games in this sphere of influence. Because whatever the fuck it is you get down to, you do it at your speed, at your pace, at your leisure, as you said. Which more than likely means, especially since you suggested Stardew Valley, that you play cozy games. I'm gonna ask you this on air, nigga! I'm gonna ask you this on air! And if you say that you mostly play single-player games, and then you go into the context of saying you believe that feminists and women ruin gaming, I'm gonna have to ask you, do you actually play online games? And if you say no, or you obfuscate, I'm digging in your ass. Pause. I'm digging in your ass. Because most people can't go online to go play those games without having to either A, have a pre-selected lobby, or B, having to mute and deafen the pings and the communication of every person possible, because we have no idea. The annoying person is trying to bait for content attention to then try to go viral on Twitter to get me canceled.
Okay? So then why should anybody take what you have to say as anything more than just babble compared to this fucking random blue-haired feminist online? Who the fuck cares? It's literally a toss-up. It's they don't like white people, you don't like women. Why the fuck would I listen to either one of you?
Great question. Boing Flip, why should anyone listen to you over listening to me? Especially if I can actually be able to meet the bridge on the matter. Because I don't think you think it's all women. I don't think you think that every person who supposedly agrees with Asmongold on some level thinks that all women ruin gaming. It's a very specific keynote few of people who have ruined gaming. And I don't think you understand the position he's coming from because you're more focused on the optics of the situation. Because moral relativism and morality. Why should people listen to you when you don't know what you're talking about? When you quite literally cannot properly compare the reason why a person would look at an autism simulator person who spends all of their time just building buildings versus a person who has to adapt to the changes in a season that while they might be making the third version of the character of a build that they've already ran, they're now dealing in an environment where the actual map actually has changed, where the environments have changed, where the rotation has changed, which is something that you would know about the ARPGs like Path of Exile if you actually, played them. But no, you were talking shit about theme park MMORPGs, which, if you don't play them frequently, you don't know ball. If you don't play all these genres enough to understand them, and the people who are in them, you don't know ball. And thus, you're trying to shit on one particular person because he's famous. At which point, why should they listen to you over me? Kind of ridiculous, no? Of course, the answer should be because one of us is right and the other one is wrong. Or one is more tuned in, more clued in, more down to earth than the other. What a cuck position. But I wanted to see what happened after this point.
A certain thing, it's not okay because it's not appealing to you. Like, for a white man, especially, this is like enough of a criticism. That's it.
Absolutely it is. I want things that appeal to me. I'm not...
I can't keep looping, right? Like, not everything has to appeal to you. Do I go through and shit on Stardew Valley because it's not particularly to my taste? I think Stardew Valley overall is a pretty well-made game. I could even play it and probably like it. It's just not particularly...
But you don't... So you don't even play the game that you're trying to... Ah! Ah! Skinwalker! 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 Ah! You don't even like the game, and you're trying to use it as an argument. So you don't actually understand the game itself to begin with. You're just like, famous, recognizable in a game that I can use as an argument. I don't even like it, though. I don't play it. I could play it, but I don't. So why are you using it? Why don't you use one you actually play?
Particularly my game. Do I complain that every single game isn't Warhammer 40k? Isn't geared towards the Warhammer 40k universe? Isn't geared towards Grimdark? Do I complain? No. Would all games be better?
Grimdark and Warhammer 40k have other games in their video gameography that all consist of the RPG genre, which are doing the same thing over and over again, including the PvP trials, where you could say the PvP trials is different because you're playing against other people and it's not the same thing all the time, the same tactics and the same strategy. The actual ones that people play frequently, the ones that are actually lobby-based, that have multiplayer, they are, in fact, a type of ARPG / a type of roguelike, where you are, in fact, doing the same thing over and over again. So your argument's moot. Because then you said Grimdark. So you're now definitely in the position of the do it over again and repeat yourself ARPG. So you obviously don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because how are you shitting on a fan base and a game base that you yourself take part in? That's ridiculous. You're stupid.
Or if they were, objectively, all games would be better if they're Grimdark. Literally, objectively, they would all be better.
No, they wouldn't be, because certain games can appeal to certain people. I'm pretty sure the people that were playing Grimdark would not want to randomly be playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure or Stardew Valley. And I'm pretty sure the people who want to play Winter Burrow don't want to find themselves playing fucking Arc Raiders. No, all games don't actually have to be the same, and they would not be improved if all games were literally the same. For you, it would be better if they were all the same, because then you'd have a frame of reference for you to compare it to, and then get into it for. What you would want to say is that you would want to jump in, and you don't necessarily have to assume that because the game isn't Warhammer, that you're then going to hate it. But okay, let's see where you go with this.
Point of view. Okay, we're being a bit dramatic. They would be. Do I complain? No! Because different types of games can be cool.
Sorry. I do. I want things to appeal to me. What's wrong with that?
Right? Women, like the fact that women are in video games now, they're making video games for women.
Yeah, no. And they're going out of business because they don't buy.
Since when?
There are multiple games that have gone out of business that were meant to appeal to women, or that are very, very niche because they appeal to women, but they're making a lot of money, only because those women are paying money into the equivalent of what is online digital porn, compared to the men that are supposedly playing online digital porn. There are plenty of games that have gone out of fucking fashion. Because all of the ones that we could regularly name check, they were licensed by mega corporations, and then still failed. Should we go through the list? Forspoken, the remake for Saints Row. Once we get to the game number 10 on the list, you're going to say, no, 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 it's not, no, it's not, no, it's not. But they did go, in fact, go out of business. Redfall! Dead Island 2! Anthem Marathon! Splitgate 2! So technically, you could say the Wills weren't made for women, but no, but they were just meant to appeal to a broader audience, and then failed. Of course, that's splitting hairs, obviously. The thing what we're looking for here isn't games made to appeal to women and solely women. We're looking for games made to appeal to a broad modern audience that then were rejected because they could not break critical mass. That's what we're looking for. It's not your fault. You didn't go to school for this. You don't know the terms. You don't know the terminologies. You don't know what you're looking for. X-Defiant! You don't know what you're looking for. Supervive! You don't know what you're looking for. Like you don't know the games off the top of your head. You can't remember them so that you can be able to compare them. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I'm holding against you, but it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
I feel pretty confident to say Stardew Valley was targeted towards women. Am I wrong?
No, Stardew Valley was made for people who wanted PC fucking Harvest Moon. Before the split between Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon into what it became, and all of the other games that were made and sacrificed on the Sweet Baby Inc. altar, and the DEI working title altar, all those games, Spirit Swap, shit, I've played some of them. Spirit Swap, fucking Creature Kind, Battlestar Aces. We would get a list if we really needed to. Because of the fact that they kind of took their list down. But there are too many to name. Though granted, you could say that the ones that aren't on the list and are not necessarily tied to Sweet Baby Inc. are tied to the idea of DEI appeal. Where you take a game concept and you make it cozy and or appeal to a certain group and denomination of people. Which, then that becomes relative. Technically, a game is truly dead if no one's properly playing it and it has a very bad critical appeal as well as a bad fan appeal. Like Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. Apex Legends, I would say, is different because that one died due to hackers and Respawn and Activision being retarded about managing that problem and the game itself. As well as the fact most people don't like getting swagged on by the same top 8 players every season, season after season. And also, people that supposedly play the game to be in a group being aggressively annoying people that then throw the match because they have an attitude problem. Which is a part of the actual province of whether or not people have ruined multiplayer games online. Or games, single-player games in general. He's not going to tell the difference. There's not going to be made a difference. Because realistically, nobody can stop you from playing a single-player game. You're playing it by yourself. No one stops you from enjoying the stuff that you're having in your own privacy. But unfortunately, the privacy is not the problem. It's the appeal of everything that is connected to the online web. But why would I need to explain that? I'm going to let y'all list them. Yeah, I already mentioned Concord.
I don't feel like that's a wrong statement to make. Literally, Asmongold uses Stardew Valley in this video that Destiny's watching, that's Asmongold is subsequently watching Destiny Watch, he talks about Stardew Valley being geared towards women. It is a game that's geared towards women. That is a fucking retarded successful game. Let's make no fucking mistake. That is a retarded successful game. That game has made more money than Asmongold will probably see for his entire life.
Well, that's not true, because we already know that he's already rich in his own right. And even if that were the case, of it being more than what he made, you're kind of missing the point here, which is the issue of being diluted. The game, if it was made to appeal to women, did not exclude men from enjoying it. They didn't make it to be an all-intensive transgender paradise, fuck you, you're not punk experience, where they were highly abrasive and effectively made what people like to call transgender troon slop. A word that I don't use in my lexicon, because I don't like it. And yet, the term troon slop actually does describe a lot of video games that effectively then are bad. Not because they were made to appeal to a certain audience, but because they are constant information overload, pieces of roguelike content that can be equivocated to AI-generated slop. Too much information on the screen, too many things happening, presented with the context of a knife flow in something like Call of Duty or Titanfall, or any game that has a flow state where you can ride on walls and do it towards an end. That entire flavor is the effective flavor of those games. And many of the designers who make them are explicitly antagonistic towards a male audience because they are trying to gatekeep the games by being tonally aggressive. Despite that being their choice, the argument that you're putting forward is what's supposed to be about not excluding people, even though you make a game that is meant to be targeted for a particular audience that has asked for that appeal to be made to them. But what do I know?
The game has made so much fucking money. And the idea that, like, oh, well, they just make shitty games. The fucking Sims? Not particularly made targeting women, but Lord knows a fuckload of women play that game. They are the bulwark of what's kept that game relevant, is women. Where is this fucking idea that it makes no money? Where is this idea it always fails? Isn't the complaint about The Sims is that it's stupidly profitable? They won't even make a new game. They just put out a new DLC for the 50th fucking time and make another fucking million?
Do you understand that The Sims is a game that has such a predatory cash flow that when you say The Sims is made for women and that game is stupidly successful because it made a lot of money, precludes the fact that people do not want to pay for that thousands of dollars of DLC? Literally, it was a piece of fucking news when the person who was responsible for making the downloader that allowed people to access that for free was harassed so frequently by transgenders and women that he stopped producing it and left and said, fuck you, I don't want to be here anymore. Goodbye. And left them to deal with the consequences of harassing him. It should be less about what the game was made for and more about who's actually enjoying it and playing it as a group and who's being antagonistic to those people who are inside or outside from the tourist collective. You don't get that. You're certainly not getting that.
Isn't that the complaint about Sims? Mine.
Also, very interesting. I'm looking at the chat rooms on the side, and I can see that the chat rooms on Kick are fused with chat rooms from another broadcast. It's fused with the chat rooms from his YouTube. So it makes it appear as though there's a lot more people in the chat room when you're looking at this one VOD that doesn't reflect based on his actual content from his website. Because this is not on your YouTube page, by the way. I'm sure your Twitch is in here too. Very interesting choice. Why would you hide this broadcast on your other platforms? I wonder why you would hide your broadcast on the other platforms.
the whole point. They're gonna make video games for me again because I buy them. That's the whole point. That's my whole point. That's see that exactly.
What, does everything in the world have to be made just for you? Like,
ideally.
Wait, listen, look, you can see it. You can see him. He can't just be.
Hey, can you shut the fuck up so that I can hear the clip? Is that possible that you can stop being loud so that I can hear the clip?
Like, yes, because he knows how fucking retarded that is. He knows how fucking retarded that is. And he'd be sounding like these same blue-haired feminists that he fucking complains about daily. You can see the cogs turning in this fucking loser's head.
Yes, but I'll settle for the things that I like being made for me, continuing to be made for me. Yeah.
Does he expect World of Warcraft to be updated weekly from Asmongold's stream? Or
No, he doesn't. He expects the games that he plays to be games that appeal to him. That's it. Why are you going all the way over here for something that he didn't fucking say? Oh, I know. I know the reason. Don't worry, I'll say that during debate. Can't give away my entire strategy.
Or does he expect them to operate like a fucking business and update based on a player base?
Yes, whore.
That they can retain or capture. It's not him. It's literally not him.
Wait, I'm not gonna go into Sephora and say.
I mean, I find it extremely interesting that I'm looking here at the person who calls himself First Time Chatter in his Kick Chat, who sits here and says, I'm glad people are calling out this hypocrite and all these other people who are replying to certain things, and pretty much every single person that is in alignment in the unified chat rooms, which I'm assuming has to be Discord, Twitch, Kick, and YouTube, are all basically saying, well, he's catering to a certain demographic that pays his bills. Well, he's lying on purpose so that he can be able to appeal off of people. Well, he's doing it because he profits off of lying. If Path of Exile didn't make an RPG that was Diablo 2, but better, I wouldn't be playing it. And if the game hadn't been corrupted by blue hairs, actively banning 75% of the people who played it, and them leaving to go to parts scattered and unknown, because of these people that we tried to coexist with, and they refused to learn how to play Phantasy Star Online 2, and instead wanted to post about their flags and their genders and their pronouns everywhere, instead of learning how to just cancel and just guard, it is the case that I'm going to be annoyed with those people, and then stop playing that game. Because it stopped being about the game. It started being about something outside the game. Do I want games to appeal to me 24/7 where they follow my exact like trade? No, but I want them to be something that can appeal to me, that gets me in. Because as we should know, games are supposed to be for not necessarily anybody, but generally everybody. Because not everybody is going to appeal for them, but anybody can get into them if it appeals to them. Or if they're willing to engage with it. If you engage with Exile 2 long enough, you could become better at them. Play faster, play simpler, put together a build quickly, know generally what you're doing. But it's okay to faff around. It's alright to be a tourist. But, while being a tourist, you kind of have to remember who seeded the ground for you to stand on, so that you could visit the tourism. Instead, you think that people who are the originators and are the original fans don't deserve to have the ability to play things that appeal to them as they originally were interested in them. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Very ridiculous that you would act this way, but very interesting.
Hey guys, where's the chainsaws? Y'all got all this eyelashes and this gay shit. Where's the swords?
Where are they doing this? Where is this happening? The reason I'm so passionate about this is because, listen, I'll say this, and I will farm this shit. I play video games and I'm more of a gamer than Asmongold, without question. You want to
How?
You know why? I probably have this similar to more hours in video games than he does.
Where? Show me. Put on the camera.
Almost certainly. Because we have a very similar lifestyle, or we had a very similar lifestyle, where we literally played video games until our late 20s.
Have or had? Do you currently still do it at this time? Because on your channel, you do nothing but politics. There's a very important point here where you need to do it on camera. You need to be involved. We need to see you as a part of the culture. Because if you're just privately touring it in your own time, and you're not engaging, you're not actually a part of the culture. You're in the player base, you're not in the community.
Was 90% of the time that we breathed the air was video games. And that was me. For instance, right, I had 10,000 hours in one video game alone, right? So this idea that like, oh, video games are no longer cool anymore. Women have corrupted. No, they just, these games have changed to acquire a new demographic outside of you.
Pause. Most games have not changed in such a way where they are only ever looking for a specific viewpoint on how to access certain people and certain accesses and certain material. But it is the case that of the things that we're dealing with a certain kind of people, a certain kind of person that doesn't understand the source of where the camaraderie comes from, and instead chooses to yuck the yums of the people involved and make it much more common for them to try to attack them over some ridiculous shit rather than the norm.
Call from Winterville, GA.
Doing a thing in the background. Debate's gonna be a train wreck. More than granted. More than possible. It's going to be a fucking train wreck. And that's assuming that I don't get interrupted in the middle of me making a point. Also, Megalag, you know what you should tell most of DevCord to do? They should be live watching this from inside of DevCord, or they should be here on the server. Go tell them. Go tell the world. Go tell the server right now. Go tell them in Symposium.
There are plenty of games that are pretty much dude-only games, like geared specifically towards men.
Name them.
How many women do you think play...
We're not naming them then.
Fucking Space Marine 2.
A lot. Because you see, Irrelevant, women can get into Space Marines. There are plenty that are. However, we're talking about mass-wide appeal across demographics. A couple of women, or to rather say maybe 200,000 women, does not make up for the potential actual amount of women that are then choosing to play cozy games in general, if not just Stardew Valley. That's like saying for the women that are inside of Exile 2, or that are inside of OSRS, are the kinds of people that are the groundbreakers in these genres, that show that, yeah, women can do it too, and or better. It actually is demonstrable of exactly the point that he was making and I've been making and that I will make. Anybody can play these games. And you're missing the problem. You are talking about have women ruin gaming. Single player games? Probably not. The industry? While most games are made, that's not the problem. We're talking about online interactions in communities, bro. People can't appeal to each other and have conversations with each other because just like you are right now, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. You don't know ball. You don't know ball. You don't know what he thinks. You're not concerned with what he actually believes or wants. You're not concerned with what any of those people would appeal to or believe or want because you have a viewpoint about them that you're going to push about what they're saying. And therefore, Anything that they say must inherently be to the preconception of the belief based on what you want to say that they think. You think that people like them, which is to say when you're talking to me, you think people like me care about titties. Nigga, I don't care less. I want the game to be well balanced. I want the game to have integrity, like what Chris Wilson just dropped a video about. I want the ability to be able to invite people in and the game be appealing to them because they can be able to pick it up and understand it. Both with me there to help them and without me there to help them. And that they fall in love with it just like I did.
How many women do you think play fucking Warhammer 40k Dark Tide?
A lot. Because new games get played by every type of person. Everyone's a variety streamer relevant. Everyone's a variety streamer, whether they want to argue it and accept it or not. While you might be locked into doing nothing but politics, it is actually the case that people actually do play games all the time. But they are tourists when they do them. They don't actually live in the content. They go there to experience the content. And then they move on to something else and go back to the original thing. Which is why somebody would put together an event like OnlyFans. Get people who are not common in that game to spice up what would be otherwise just the rigmarole of the regular old. Which, while some of us in isolation, in forms of parallel play, are doing it, it'd be a thing that everybody would do, collectively together. Boom. Boom done. Boom done.
Like, these games are geared quite distinctly towards men.
They're distinctly made for anybody. That's how they're made, bro. No, they're not just made for men because grimdark fantasy death. Ah! You're lost. You're a delusion, my child.
Women do play them, but they are made with men in mind. And one of the big ones that I'm sure many people can get their hands on, that this idea that it's like corrupted by women, where is it? Red Dead Redemption 2.
Role-playing game where it doesn't matter that the character is male as a protagonist. Just like in Control, it doesn't matter that the character of that game is a female protagonist. Just like in any other game where you have male and female protagonists because you're playing a role. Especially if it's in a narrative story. Damn, nigga, it's almost like you forgot that half the job of playing video games is that you're putting yourself in the shoes of somebody who isn't necessarily you all the time. And even if you are playing a game that allows you to have the ability to create a character, that character is your proxy for the world you're in. Man designed himself in a video game and said, this is me, this appeals to me, this is how I engage in games. And then forgot that everybody else can do the same thing too.
You know, a little game, itty bitty game, little small game, Red Dead Redemption 2. Where the fuck are all the, oh, you know what, we no longer have guns, we no longer say stupid.
Yes, you remind them so that they don't forget. 100% mega lag.
But shit, we no longer have racism in this game. Like, where is it? Where is the womanification of Red Dead Redemption 2? I must have missed it. I must have missed it. When they were lynching black people in the game, authentic. When they were fucking, when you could just fucking kill shit, animals and all of that.
Pause. So, yes, your actual argument has nothing to do with the reality of what people actually do. Your entire take is based solely on single-player games. You forgot that there's an online quantity. What about people interacting and getting to know each other inside of Arc Raiders? How about women getting inside of online player lobbies and getting antagonized and harassed by people just because they heard a female voice, even if they started to as a joke? What about the women who actively go out of the way to destroy people's careers because they then use that as a way to content bait, to get clips and to go viral because they were, quote, victimized in a video game by people who couldn't handle that they were being beaten by a woman? And half of other fucking stories happen in the exact same way. You have forgotten an entire sector of video games, bro. You have forgotten an entire section of video games, and it's the online shit, which was in fact ruined by women. We no longer have the trust we have in each other, not just because of women and because of men, but because of activistic people. You forgot that there's an entire section there. Because, again, you don't understand the thing about the appeal of a community. Ridiculous. 1 second, let me check the oven. Chicken's done.
I must have missed it. Where was the womanification of the game?
The womanification of gaming started from Gamergate. That's where it started. You're focused on single games. We're focused on an industry. Keep up.
Arthur Morgan trans? Did I miss that update? Is that what I missed? I did, like, this is the problem. These fucking losers don't play real video games. They don't. They don't
play real video games. Warcraft is now not a real video game. Because you said.
One video game and act like they play video games. I probably...
They only play one video game and then act like they play all video games. So, why don't you start playing video games on your channel then? Show us how much of a gamer you are. If not, you kind of don't really have the ability to talk. But you're going to. And I'm going to demonstrate this. All gaming is not single-player games. All gaming is not multiplayer games. All gaming is not autism simulators.
Played like close to, well, not close to. I think I have 400 video games on Steam. I literally played over 400. I have 400 video games in my library on Steam.
Okay, I have over 600 games in my library. What are we talking about?
Like this idea that these video games, the video games aren't made for men anymore. It's because you play one game. You play one game. You don't play video games. You play a video game. Big difference. You can play video games. Big difference. And listen, I can complain about certain aspects of video games going down the shitter. You know what isn't? You know what isn't? This idea that like women are taking over. It's just loser.
When you have companies that put women in the head of the executive position that decides who gets banned and who doesn't, you are creating a culture that is in fact dominated by women because it is women-centric first. Because it's the sanitation of the internet. Better start the coffee fit now than during the debate. Better for me to start this coffee fit now than during the debate. The womanification of gaming started with the sanitization of voice chats, text chats, communication systems, and attempting to make the broader market sanitized in order to get more mass appeal money, which came with the political correctness, which came with the female-centered lens that ignored how people actually speak to each other and socialize online, in the attempt to smother out those voices by actively silencing them and the people actually talking about reality through the context of social media. there are more variety streamers that demonstrate the reality of this than what you are choosing to propose and pander to, which only sets the ground for more and more of demonstration that you don't understand the modern audience that currently exists for gaming. It is not just women, it is not just men, it is not just transgenders, it is everybody collectively together playing different things. You're only worried about the single player motive. So, effectively, in your viewpoint, a person who plays only one game, and that game that they play is a single player game, doesn't deserve to have the right to speak. So, where's the multiplayer games that you play? Do you participate in the culture of those games online? Do you like when a loud-mouthed person decides to ruin online gaming, as well as actively prevent you from enjoying your single-player mods? That should only matter because you're playing a single-player game. But oopsie-poopsie! Looks like your thing was a little bit too little cringe, so I got removed off one of the more popular Nexus sites for modding. Looks like you're going to have to go underground to the deep web to go find the mods that you're looking for. Is that the feel that you want? Is that what you think gaming is? Gross.
Ass fucking perspectives.
I'm trying to buy a hammer.
Games you don't give a fuck about, right? You know that's okay, right? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
they did make a game I didn't give a fuck about. It was called World of Warcraft. The problem is that they used to make a game I gave a fuck about it. It was called World of Warcraft. You want to make your own shitty little bullshit game?
Didn't they literally make World of Warcraft Classic so these fucking absolute mouth breathers could play a video game again?
What happened was that WoW Classic started becoming a lot more like retail WoW, which is what made people bounce off of it very hard. Or you should say, made tourists bounce off it hard, and the hardcore people who wanted to play Hardcore Classic are still there playing it. And you don't hear them complaining because Soda Poppins is too busy trying to deal with how to corral a bunch of fucking retards from trying to fucking lolcow bait and farm clips and donos and moments off of the people that they're playing with that have a larger fan base than them. Yeah, you're not hearing about the people who play the game infinitely because they're not complaining. And the thing that they're complaining about, if they do complain, is the people who don't get engaged and don't fully immerse themselves. Like Part Software. So, when they make games that appeal to people who want to have a classic experience, what they end up doing is they end up commodifying it to a point where nobody truly wants to get into it because there's too much shit to learn. Or worse, if they get invested into it, they are completely turned off from the game because the thing that they want, especially if it's a single-player experience, is being taken from them when they choose to mod it into the experience that they want from the actual packaged experience that they sold. Especially if the online context is, how dare you do this, how dare you do this, how dare you enjoy this, how dare you play this, how dare you do that. As it happened with multiple male characters, as it happened with multiple female characters, as it continues to happen with multiple female characters. But that doesn't exist to you because you think all gaming is single-player games. And not multiplayer games.
Because they had a bunch of man-children who kept complaining. Isn't that literally what they did? And then half of these fucking losers abandoned the game, like, within a week? Dude, I hate this.
Wouldn't that say, if that was the case, that they abandoned it within a week? Which is not what happened. Wouldn't it be the case that if they supposedly abandoned it within a week, that it actually demonstrates that they ended up not making something that they actually wanted? They tried, but they failed. And technically what they wanted to do was they created WoW Classic as a way for people to experience what came before. Is that not the case, sir? Because that's actually the case, sir. You don't even know. You're just stringing at straws. I hope you have this answer on the spot.
This because it's proof that it's all nostalgia, right? They make these things, they appease to these things. Same thing happened with Diablo 2. All these people are like, oh, we're gonna relive.
The same thing happened with Diablo 2. We're gonna relive this stuff. Meanwhile, over here, playing the game that was created from the future that was provided by men who thought that you could do Diablo 2 but better. Did you enjoy playing Path of Exile 2? Are you about to shit on the thing that was the inspiration behind the guys that made that game? Sounds like it! And no, they didn't necessarily make Diablo 2 Resurrected because there were people who were clamoring for a remix. Why they did it is because the servers were overrun by bots. They were overrun by bots that were gate crashers, that were breaking, destroying the economy. Overran by hackers and scammers that steal your items and resell your accounts for money, real-world money. They remade the game to have control of it by putting it into a modern Battle.net client system, so they could then be able to better control that problem on the economy, which they really kind of didn't. But in most people's cases anyways, you'd still have to be on an online variation of the game in order to play it even offline. Especially if you're using it on another device, like a Switch. Because it has to be connected to your Battle.net account, so that it can be authenticated every 30 days. Which kind of misses the point that you're trying to get towards, which is the culture of online gaming and gamers as a whole collective to the games that they're playing, whether they be single or multiplayer. You're getting stuck in customizations when you forgot about the actual soul of camaraderie.
Live our glory days in Diablo 2. We're gonna do all these things. No, the problem is you're like clinging on to the past. You're this cringe fucking loser who's like going through a midlife crisis, who's like buying a fucking Mustang because you want to feel like you're 20 again. That's literally what this is. And you're making the video game industry accommodate that, okay? Get with the times or get the fuck out of the way, literally.
Get with the times or get the fuck out of the way. What's your response then when the industry ends up selling a product that nobody wants and the studios get cloistered because the developers had the same mentality, and the customer said, no, you, and the customer closed? What's your answer to that? Oh, is that just the marketplace working as intended? The people who have control over their money and their wallets showed financial discipline, and they were able to cloister them by actively saying, nah, I'm not going to play that. Sounds like it! Maybe you should get with the times and recognize your argument doesn't fully work. It's crazy. Why am I loud? Well, as you can see here, I have this dark skin. And just as you can hear from the individual who I'll be debating at 6 p.m., this dark skin enables me to have such a loud voice. I also have a very good microphone. That's the other answer, too. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. We've got one! Someone give the man the papers.
Like, bro, it's so fucking soy.
That's fine, but don't go and, again, you want to get woke on me, that's fine, let's get woke. Don't go and appropriate my...
Yes, everybody knows modern gaming is woke. Witcher 3 is woke.
Getting angry because he said the word woke. Demonstrating the inability to actually listen to the point. Pause, Andy, moment.
Red Dead Redemption is woke. We all know, yes, all modern games. There's not a single modern game that has been made that isn't woke. Yes.
Culture. Don't appropriate video game culture and add your own shit into it. Make your own culture, make your own games. And
Madden is woke. Madden is woke, of course. Because that's how it goes. If it's modern, it's woke.
His CEO saying the same thing.
Battlefield 6, the wokest game ever. Whoa, that's so woke.
I wonder if he watches all the way through to the point where the CEO starts talking about the activistic control opposition that exists in companies. I wonder what he has to say to that.
Wait, what?
Escape from Tarkov, one of the most popular extraction shooters in history. It's so woke, there's no women in it. It's so fucking woke, there are 0 women in it. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is literally what I'm talking about, man. And I'm not joking. You cannot play a woman in the game, even if you wanted to. You can't. But don't. Everything is woke. Everything is woke now. Everything is woke.
Making money is fine. Like I'm a believer in the free market generally. I'm a believer in capitalism strongly. But then the problem is you have this combination of capitalism-driven capture efforts combined with people who don't care about making money nearly so much as pushing their particular social ideals. Like,
you're very quiet right now. Why is that?
The chuds are breaking containment. Bro, Bro, we're loose.
No response because he can't really respond to it. There's nothing for him to react to. He didn't say one of the trigger words for him to go off and try to make him look for he's ridiculous. To say, quote, he doesn't understand anything, he's wanking off and grifting to incels as a dying gig. No, that is actually the case, Irrelevant. Do you have a response to that? Why is this dude that you're watching shouting? Are people so deprived of dopamine that we need to shout? Someone read this man his papers. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He's going to be really confused when we get to the debate at 6 p.m. He doesn't know. Someone read I am wrong his papers. He's being loud. I am wrong. Because I have to assume this is your first time here. Hi, I'm Carl. He's shouting because he's trying to pander to his audience, while he's doing a reaction of a reaction to a reaction to a reaction of a reaction to a reaction, because he's trying to fill in his answer as to why someone like Asmongold is incorrect about his assessments about video games. He, instead of actually hearing his arguments, is doing what we call clip chipping and pause andying, where instead of actually hearing the full point being made, he is reacting to a word that he said as a buzzword, and he is going off on a very prototypical NPC-like nervous response, like clicking a knee with a reflex tester, and saying, oh my god, he said the word, these guys are just like this, he said the word, and not actually addressing what's being made. I am going to be debating this person live, but for the context of the people who have no understanding of what's going on, despite the thousands of times that I've talked about it, presented it, and said that this is going to be happening, as that is the job of a reviewer and a content creator, to prepare people for the content happening, we are broaching them of the actual opinion that he had in his clip, outside of the viral clip, and instead the entire dissertation of the material of the stream. He is reacting like this because he doesn't actually have an argument to what is being said. One of the arguments prior that he said before you got here was, you complain about this because it's women. The supposed white feminists that you hate, the awfuls that you hate, complain about it because they hate men. Both of you, dissertatedly, are cringe because why should we listen to any of them? The question posed here is, why should anyone listen to him over me and the argument that I'm making? And the honest answer is, because it's actually fulfilling the actual center of the argument and informing the people who are discussing things. This person, is he a right-wing NPC or grifting? No, that is a left-wing NPC. Technically, I wouldn't even use the word grifting, because he believes in what he's saying. He's just wrong in what he's saying. It's one part reaction, part content, one part trying to go viral for attention, which I guess he succeeded in, because we're going to be debating in a little over 2 hours.
We're loose now.
Irrelevant still doesn't have a response to what he just heard from that quote.
I've seen this in Hollywood. You certainly see it in the games.
Yeah, these people not realizing that games they grew up with were also political, but so ingrained that this...
Completely removing himself from the conversation that was just had from the person that's on the Joe Rogan podcast, and instead reading directly from somebody who is in his YouTube chat from the unified chat rooms that are here at the bottom. He doesn't have a response to what was just said by that guy. Let's see if he has a response to anything else he hears from what that man is saying.
Stances were invisible. Yeah, like a great example. We watched a video on the game Wolfenstein.
The problem is not about the games being political and, quote, the games being made for me and they didn't see it because they were completely invisible to it. It doesn't matter if it was invisible to them or not. The thing that they were concerned with was a core experience that was repeatable and replayable because it was a good game. They didn't care about the politics of the characters. They might even make jokes about the characters. If we get on the true level of extra credits, they might even make jokes about their ideas because they enjoyed the games and the characters first. They might even repeat their talking phrases and their quotes, and they start repeating them as in jokes because they cared about the game that they were playing. I don't repeat the lines of people like Count Geonor, or Shell, or any of the typical player characters in the campaign stories of Exile 1 or Exile 2, because I hate them with a burning passion. I do it because they are ingrained memes at this point, because every single campaign, you have to play the session. And just like in this campaign session, when Alva Valai, almost threw up a little bit in my mouth, when Alva Valai says she wants to seize and touch Adziri's commendable assets, everybody's like, excuse me? The same way that Doriani did. And when they get to that scene with Atsiri, where she pulls off the fucking cover, and she's out here with some ass and titties, and ass and titties, ass, titties, ass and titties, they don't care about the political diatribe that the character might have. They care about it because the character is fun for them. Yes, my sweet baby dove. It's a 6-pack. Any flavor will do. Okay, what's the flavors, baby? Oh, they don't have you on tap? Pomegranate, please. Yes. I love you too. That was my woman. You know, because incels don't have women, you know. But no, they enjoy the characters, and they find the lines to be mimetic because they are quintessential to an experience. Just like the core experience of a raid. Just like the core experience of teaching new sprouts a new mechanism, or shepherding them through new content inside of Final Fantasy XIV, or doing the same inside of OSRS, or doing the same inside of Arc Raiders, or doing the same inside of Once Human. They do it because it is something that becomes a part of the culture. And you don't have a response to the culture because you think politics therefore means they shouldn't like it because cooties. You're looking for a cooties response. You're going into this thinking that the cooties response is, I don't want to play things made by women. It shouldn't have women in it. It shouldn't appeal to them. It should appeal to me. But actually, I don't care. I want the game to be good. I don't care if the character has a philosophy that is inherently diametrically opposed to my own. If the writer was able to write a compelling story where it has another character that is diametrically opposed to that viewpoint, and it actually has a discussion about that philosophy, then that's fine. You know what? Games exist that already did that. The entirety of Final Fantasy. The entirety of the Chronicle that is both Legacy of Kain and Thief. Technically, they did that in Assassin's Creed, and then it got shit. And so on, and so on, and so on. From immersive sims, to JRPGs, to Western RPGs, to roguelikes, to roguelites, and more. Story-based or not. We care about the game being good first. Then we care about the loopable mechanics. Because that's what makes people want to play it multiple times over. Not because of nostalgia, but because the content is good. And then for some people, they might not actually like the retail version of the game, and so they play a private server. Guess what? They're still playing with other people, regardless of whatever the fucking politics of the characters or the game is supposed to be putting onto you. You know why? Because they care about the game, not the political diatribe of the tourism bullshit that you're doing right now. Now, have a response for the man and what he's about to explain about the industry.
Anybody remember the game Wolfenstein? The literal anti-Nazi, anti-fascist...
Still pause, Andy! Have a reaction to what the guy just said on the broadcast.
Game? I watched a video on it where it was going... You'd lose his mind.
Still talking.
Greater equity and representation.
Yes!
And I'd say, like, making great games is the best reason.
Yes!
Oh my god, this is about Donald Trump. Fucking loser shit like that.
Industry, where you have...
Yes!
People who are joining the industry not because they want to make great games.
Yes.
Not even because they want to make money.
Yes.
And I'd say, like, making great games is the best reason. Making money is an acceptable reason. It's because they want to bring about greater equity and representation
yes, man.
Of people that look like them. And, like, that's fine to have as a thing in the back of your mind, but there's people who are joining where that is what they want to do. That's
exactly.
Still no response.
They're gonna berate them.
Still no response. Still no response. Guess who those people are irrelevant that he's describing? The majority of them, awfuls. Affluent, white, leftist women. Not just the devs. Not just the game journalists, not just the creators, not just the content creators, not just the influencers, but even the HR reps.
Anyone in the company who says,
And the culture of the company is based on that. We're going to sanitize the conversation because somebody could call them a slur. which is inherently a feminine trait to try and protect people and keep them safe, instead of allowing for a rough and tumble environment where you get to know each other and learn about each other in the way that most children do, which is through play. Roughhousing, you could say. Online roughhousing.
This is such a level.
Response from the chat room. Rogan brain rot. Their reaction to what he's saying is that this man is brain rotted. A presenter being loud while talking about something. Oh no. Lock in, I am wrong. Lock in. We're not doing the one guy stuff.
One analysis. Do you think that maybe, just maybe, the people who make video games with a social kind of commentary in mind might think that the game that they're making is good?
I mean, if you do something like what IOI Entertainment's doing, and you make James Bond First Light, and you say, actually, James Bond is problematic, he would never do the things that classical James Bond has ever done. We're taking him in a modern take-in representation. You think the people that are fans of Ian Fleming's James Bond are going to go along with your interpretation, which is closer to James Bond Jr., than to actual James Bond? Because at that point, there's like any fandom, just like any franchise, you're wearing them like a skin to trick people into accepting the political propaganda that you're pushing on them. You're skinwalking at that point. Again, another communication from the chat room. This is just wrong. This is just wrong. What this man here is saying, one of the most valued companies in the world, is wrong about what he's saying because their chat room disagrees, because it comes from a position that they can't be able to respond to. Very interesting. That's one for the broadcast.
Aspect also to it, kind of like a lot of the video games that we've come to know. Maybe like God of War, the modern interpretation.
Modern interpretation of God of War being rewritten with the intention of adding in a viewpoint that comes from people who do not understand, do not care for, and would rather erase the history that it came from and remarket it as a new thing. That, because it makes money, this is the demonstration that everyone must be wrong. Except that what it should actually be is an appreciation of what came before, so that you can build upon that story to tell another story that is just as good, if not better. But instead, you're trying to erase history, not accept and enshrine history, which is the case of what most people do when they try to become a part of a company. They try to bury the past, and they try to kill it, because they think the replacement for the future is better. When in most cases, that is the wrong way to do it, and is why you end up losing people who are supporters, and shareholders. Again, your job is not to make an activistic piece of art that's supposed to make a story. Your job is to make a video game that sells for money. If you are able to achieve all of the factors, you made a game that's good, you made a game that's repeatable, you made a game that has a message, and the message was well received because people were paying attention and they were also enjoying the content, and it did not require you to say, and because you think this means you can't say communism is cringe, is demonstrable of you not understanding the deeper problem, which is that you need to appeal to people first. You need to appeal to them first by making what they want. If you make what they want and you deliver it in a package that is digestible, then you have a lot of ability to succeed. Otherwise, it's dead on the water. You are farming right now. You're trying to farm, and I'm farming you. And I'll farm you again. And I'll farm you again.
Which is very clearly a story about, like, masculinity and, like, what it means to grow into
Bye, Buster.
father. That's literally what the modern God of War games are about. But that's not political. There's nothing political about that. There's nothing political about Kratos learning.
You're still getting stuck on the politics debate instead of actually understanding the part that is being discussed, which is the poisoning and the refusal to become a part of the parallel society that you're trying to build on top of people. That's really the core problem here. You're trying to space out gaming into this parallel society of annoying, dumb, woke chuds and everybody else. When actually, it's everybody in the same hodgepodge, and you don't realize how many spaces have been destroyed and have been poisoned because you don't actually talk to those people. Because you unironically say that those people's opinions should be ignored. You've turned people into deplorables that you're going to ignore because you decided to ignore the actual argument being presented in place of the argument you want to talk about. That is, in fact, Asmongold derangement syndrome. You are ignoring the greater point and the greater sphere of influence because you want to call this guy a loser and people who listen to him a loser. And thus you forget the actual important part that is possible, which is that you need to actually get people on your side, understanding your ideals, and understanding the perspective that you're coming from. But you're not willing to actually hear them, so why should they listen to you? While also punishing them for the crime of saying, hey guy, you're really annoying. Can you please stop typing like that? Can you please stop talking like that? And then the response that you give them in the game is you say, this person, he called me this word and told me to kill myself. Where you lie on camera saying that this person said something to you that they didn't, even though you go into a situation creating it something that it is. And the people who maliciously go in, looking to get that kind of reaction, playing victim just as well, and benefiting off of lying about it, thus getting somebody banned permanently from a video game that they love, or just a video game that they enjoy playing from time to time, because this person didn't behave and believe how they believed, which is what you're doing. This is a parity spiral. You are parity spiraling. You have defined a parity spiral that says if you don't listen and think what I think, and believe what I believe, then you are deranged and crazy because you only play one game. Meanwhile, we still don't know what games you play out of these 500 games in your goddamn lobby. What are they? Where are they? Whom are they? One game that we know that you have played once, and apparently only during the free weekend, don't know if you actually own the thing, is Path of Exile 2. Is this the opinion that you have of people who play RPGs? That they only play one game, therefore they're fucked and they shouldn't have an opinion that listens? Well, you see, it seems to me that actually the case is that we should do that because the company that we're paying for the game for, which is Grinding Your Games, respects us, compared to the current person who's doing No Rest for the Wicked, who has a person that came from Blizzard, who then went into fucking crypto scam currency, trying to talk up to a person who's making No Rest for the Wicked, who then defends himself. Thomas Mahler is the name, by the way. You probably heard about this news story on Twitter already. Talking back to him saying, bro, I ain't gotta work anymore. You do. You should be careful what you say. And the guy reading him to feel fuck about the fact that he destroyed the representation, and destroyed the market base, and destroyed the integrity and the trust that people had in Diablo, that they had in Blizzard, that they had in Activision, Blizzard King, Microsoft, as it's now properly acronymed, which is just Microsoft at the top of the head anyways, because they're just another fucking gem in the Thanos gauntlet that is their holdings. You want to look at them and say that they're wrong for playing the games that they choose to prefer to play. And you think that you're just talking about one person, but it's them! Boing! In trying to antagonize Asmongold, you have deflected the problem onto other people. So, are people who only play Stardew Valley lame, cringe losers that should play more than one game? No, because they're not complaining where you can hear them, so that you can then antagonize them about it. But Asmongold is. But you don't think that argument plays to the entirety of the marketplace? Which is why people are buying things that they're buying? Would you use this argument on Warframe? Probably not, because Warframe's a cozy game. You can pick it up and put it down whatever the fucking time you want. Same thing with the gacha games, like Genshin Impact and Zenless Zone Zero, and Wuthering Waves. I don't play them, never touched them to save my life, but I've touched a gacha game. Not even counting for the ones like the First Descendant, which is an entirely separate argument itself, which you could say probably falls into the argument of the male gaze of they have to have booby sexy characters in order to be interesting, but the men are also hot too. And they also have pulse underskins too. You would make the argument that any person who plays a forever game like this doesn't have the ability to have an argument, while missing the point that the entire industry has been affected by individuals who've gone out of their way to change it from the from the top to the bottom, and from the bottom to the top, with the intention of trying to choke out the culture that was made possible when people were just able to be themselves and talk freely without the fear of being censored and having their life canceled because they had the audacity of saying something wrong that a fucking Redditor didn't agree with. Or that a female in the game didn't agree with, while they were looking for a way to go viral off a clip of them being attacked by this person, when they decided to instead say some really deeply antagonistic things, and then went on to Twitter and cried about it, for attention. As has been the case multiple times throughout the last 12 years. That Gamergate's been a thing. But integrity is not going to be found here. No, it won't be.
Learning how to be a good dad, be a stand-up person, a role model for his child, change who he is to be able to guide it. There's nothing political about that. Like, It just reeks. It reeks. Yeah, the BioShock series, it reeks of just, there are social commentary things we don't like, and we will shit on them when they either, one, are too much, like, they're too much for us to handle, they're too in our face, we feel it hurts our feelings, or if the game or story or whatever it is just not good. Like, it reminds me so much of the Star Wars movies, where it's like,
if a person doesn't like something, they'll shit on it because they think it's bad. Wow, what a diverse fucking concept. That's never been thought of before. Wow.
Star Wars was bad because they just wanted to make a woman lead, like, super strong and powerful. No, the Star Wars movies were just...
No, they were bad because they tried to take a demographic that already appealed to males and tried to make it into a lifestyle brand that appealed to not males. Say it was for women, say it was for children, say it was for somebody, but it definitely wasn't for males. Because they were told that the past is dead and it should be buried and it should die and you should shut up about it. That is actually something that happened in the films. From the mouth of Rian Johnson. Which is why he didn't get his fucking sequel. And neither did the fucking Duffer Brothers. Or excuse me, not the Duffer Brothers. The D&D guys that did Game of Thrones. You're just coming up with schizo shit. And leaving out the most important context. But that doesn't matter. We're lying to your audience. That's what we're doing. We're lying right now.
Just bad. They just didn't have good plot, the new ones. They just weren't good movies. But, yeah, you're right.
And yet we can't apply that same thing to the concepts of video games? Oh, these games, they didn't like it because it was woke. They didn't like it because it had politics. No, I didn't like it because it was boring. I didn't like it because it looked pathetic. It looked like it couldn't actually muster the same level of success and fun that I could have on an older game that is the same premise, but older, but still better. Because you added too much shit to it. That doesn't apply to? People can't think that too either? That's what you're saying.
On the fact that there was a woman lead and she could do a bunch of shit. Sure.
People care less about having a female protagonist if the character and the entire internal the entire ontological nurture of the story is actually good. Again, you're just saying male gaze bad, how dare you have opinions, while still not interacting and engaging with what this guy just said. While your chat room is trying to call it Joe Rogan brain rot. Have an opinion!
Not the people you wish were our customers. Like, let's make games for the guys who buy our games, not the moms who wish were buying our games. And people like that are being ejected out of
They are, and nobody wants to do it because of toxic positivity. Who wants to be the guy that is the person who's the inhibitor that says maybe we shouldn't make this character non-binary? We already have 3 non-binary characters. You're gonna find yourself in HR tomorrow for a microtransaction and out on your ass next week for being.
This is just literally not true. He's talking about this in the.
It's not true, except that it is. So now we're lying about an actual truth and reality that's happening to the industry right in front of you. The industry wasn't ruled by women, but actually the industry is experiencing a significant gaming slump that has long been predicted will eventually metastasize into a full industry collapse. Which is why people are building parallel societies for them to enjoy content in. So that when that parallel society eventually collapses, that it actually still has people in it that enjoy content. Yes, sugar pie honey dunch. I'm being funny. Yes, baby. Sugar pie honey dumpling. Okay. I'll kiss you on your hot mouth in a minute. Okay, I'll get them. I'll kiss you on your hot mouth in a minute. I love you. She's pulling up in a second. I'm gonna go outside and grab the stuff. I need my resources so that I can debate him live on air. 1 second. Commune amongst yourselves, chat. Star says hi. Okay. I have my supplies for the debate.
Age where Blizzard had a massive loss.
It says maybe we shouldn't make this character non-binary. We already have 3 non-binary characters. You're gonna find yourself in the car tomorrow for a microtransaction and out on your ass next week.
This is just literally not true. He's talking about this in the age where Blizzard had a massive lawsuit against them because their workers couldn't stop sexually harassing the female staff. Like, this is just a made-up thing. This idea that, like, HR is gonna crack down on you if you ever do anything bad inside of any video game company ever. This is just not true.
It's just not true that people will have a culture of toxic positivity, where if they speak about something that goes against the particular culture of the person in question, that they will be PIP'd out of the door and removed because they're not following the brand identity and the brand future of what the company wants. Meanwhile, this is the reason why Riot Games was taken over and turned into what it is. Are we forgetting the social struggle sessions created by Riot Games back when they had their own forums, and even still now? Popularized, along with the word toxic, by one Jeremy Lin, that currently still works for Amazon Game Studios, but formerly at Riot Games, was the Riot I Beat My Wife Light, who familiarized the struggle section and the light smite spam. Excuse me, light smite ban, where your opinions were gone over by the employee harassing you. This is not beer. Harassing you for having the audacity of having negative opinions. People antagonize you, people bully you, and because you were antagonized, harassed, and bullied, that meant that you responded to someone being toxic, therefore your account deserves to be banned. Because what you should actually do is when somebody calls you a slur 15 fucking times, is that you should just laugh at it, and you should take it, instead of actually going to the person who's supposed to be the head of design at the time, and the head of all seniority, and actually do something about it, since the person's a popularized individual. Oh wait, what's that? This is why they ended up banning people back then, and still do from games, publicly, especially the content creators. What's that? They recently did a ban against Tarzan because of that behavior? What's that? There was the reason why they did the original ban against Tyler 1, and then they unbanned Tyler 1, because Tyler 1 was not actually toxic, but was just a personality. And people can't tell the difference between a toxic personality and a person who's putting on a character who is not that when they're playing the game. And he's not that anymore. Technically never was, but not that anymore, especially after becoming Tyler Dad 1. Seems to be the case that actually the industry was changed, and for the worse, by women. Does that mean that having normal properties and having normal tools to mute, ignore, and block people trying to negatively interact with you is bad? No. But when you start controlling people to the point that you start making compelled speech, it's why people don't interact and engage, which is a definitional example of the system and the business and the industry being ruined by women. Specifically the annoying women, who want to be the mommy and daddy of the internet, deciding what you get to do and how you get to talk and how you get to talk to. Or talking whatsoever at all, because chat rooms no longer exist, and there is no chat bar. But that doesn't stop somebody from finding a way to create pings, so they can tell you to rope yourself. And don't even get us started on voice comms.
It's very politically incorrect.
That's right.
That's the Bud Light dilemma, right? Exactly.
It's not a dilemma, bro.
Tried to make Bud Light for people who don't want Bud Light.
Yeah.
And make fun of the Bud Light people.
Exactly.
Myth audience. Yeah. Mainstream audience. They say it's even worse in gaming because they'll say things like, 50% of gamers are
50 are women, but they're all playing Candy Crush and these other bullshit games that aren't real. They're not real gamers. They're not playing Elden Ring. Yeah, there's like 6 girls that play Elden Ring.
Again, I will take this with anybody. Asmongold is not a real gamer. If we're doing real gamer, like line in the sand things, you are not a real gamer if you play one video game. I refuse.
You're not a real gamer if you play one video game. Well, good thing I'm a real gamer. I play plenty of different video games. Single player, multiplayer, online sim, offline sim. Wonderful that I have the ability to have an opinion. Wow, it was given to me by Irrelevant. Thanks, Irrelevant.
I don't care what the video game is. I literally don't care if you have 15 years of your real life spent, like total years of gameplay time in League of Legends. You're not a real gamer. You play one video game. You are a real League of Legends player. You're a real World of Warcraft player. To me, and I think a very tangible definition for gamer is that you play video games. Games.
So, playing video games, good. Where on your channel do you play video games publicly? Where are they? Show me. Show me. Where? 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 Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Let's do your YouTube account. Lord have mercy. What a game's at? 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 And unfortunately, these are all videos on your channel because you've probably deleted some. What a game's at? Let's do your Twitch, which you're not even properly using because you're hiding out on Kick and deleting your VODs when you go live. What a game's at? What a game's at? What a game's at? What a game's at? What a game's? Where are the games at? All I see is IRL content, is life content. That's it. Politics, IRL. That's it. Let's use Solynome. Let us consult the tracks there. Maybe since you stream on this is something that we can show on your content. Or as the kids say on TikTok, fire! Fire! Looks like from your own argument, you're not even a real gamer. But I'm an asshole. But remember, I'm a whole ass, not a half ass. Let's go to user replay. Let's go to user replay. You're only a gamer if you play games, plural. You're a real just chatter. You're a real debate bro, but you're not a real player. But let's be fair. Let's give you a chance to see the whole thing. This is comparing 30 days. Let's do a whole year. Special events. The Bazaar. Just Chatting. Blueprints. Sid Meier, Civ 7. IRL plus Politics. Single player Puzzle Sim. Single player Roguelike. Watching Special Events. Multiplayer and single player Grand Strategy. I say again, I say one more time for the people in the back. Fire! No online video games to speak of. Well, it looks like by your own definition, you're not a real gamer. All right then, shut the fuck up. Let's go even further back. Let's go even further back. Let's go back to 2024, if it even lets me. Here we go. Here are some actual video games. Voices of the Four, Path of Exile, Fallout 4, Warhammer Vermintide, Foxhole, Stellaris, Metaboris, Silent Hill, Last Spell, Tarkov, Warhammer 40k, Exile 2, Warhammer 40k. Ow, I'm Only Sleeping, which is technically a category when you're just like doing some ha funny shit, but you're not going live offline, so you're actually just in your bed sleeping, unironically. Stalker 2, Just Chatting, Shadows of Doubt, Tekken 8, Frostpunk 2, Voices of the Void. What happened to this Irrelevant? What happened to this Irrelevant? Why is there such a giant, grandiose change? Also, don't look at the numbers. 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 Don't look. Do not look at the numbers. Do not look at the numbers, chat. Do not look. 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 What happened? What happened in a year, Irrelevant? Tell me, what happened in a year for you to lose this position? You used to play games on camera. Then you stopped playing games on camera. You started playing games privately. I would never make the example of saying you have to play live on camera in order for you to be considered a gamer. But I'm going to have to ask you specifically to show me that you understand the culture of on-camera content and behavior, because it seems like you only ever play in the insular state of mind that is just you to yourself. So you're playing asynchronatically from other people, where you're playing in an entire player base, but you're not actually communing with other people. The most you're willing to do is engage in the content where you are allowed to pay money and buy money off of people, but you're not actually truly invested in that content. Not truthfully. No. Not even close. You don't really give a shit about other people. It's just you and your own specifics. But anybody who disagrees with you, they're incels. They're stupid. They're dumb. They're brain broken. They are chuds. They are losers. They're fucking losers. How dare they play one game permanently all the time and know everything about that game and bring other people into it for them to share and enjoy the experience? No, if you play only one game, you don't get to have an opinion. Well, 2014 you should be telling 2025 and 2026 you to shut the fuck up and eat a fucking dick. Cause what changed? What changed? How did you become so close-minded?
Plural. You play more than one video game. You have a arsenal of video games that you play and that you maybe play well, whatever it might be. That is like this idea that I'm a gamer. I only play World of Warcraft. What is Minecraft? What is fucking Red Dead Redemption? What's GTA? What's Battlefield? I don't know what these are. Like what?
But there's not 10.
By the way, you do realize that what you just did is you just validated his response to what he said to Asmongold. You validated that entire exchange between Asmongold and Destiny. Because when Steven started trying to tone police him with a purity spiral, you're now tone policing him with a purity spiral. Congratulations. You're doing the exact same thing that you're supposedly criticizing Asmongold for. So now we ask ourselves, again, why should anybody listen to you over me? Why should anybody listen to you over Asmongold? Why should anybody listen to anybody who could speak to you about it over anyone else with a better positive mindset that reflects the actual reality that's out there? It's because you're not really telling the truth. You're disconnected from this entirely. You are fully pushing yourself away from social interaction and connection, because real gaming is the connections that happen with other people, whether you know them or not, and you all collectively playing together and enjoying things together as an actual community and not just a player base that are asynchronously trading to each other with no affinity for each other. Culture! 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 No connection to culture means no connection to camaraderie. No camaraderie and no culture means no community. No community means the space rots and dies. Once again, we're back to the fucking circles. Once again, we're back to the fucking circles. We're back to the fucking circles again. We're back here again. We're back here with the circles. We can't leave. No matter what we fucking do, we can't fucking leave the circle. It's aggressive. Again, especially for those who lack the context. What I'm talking about is this right here. You have people who literally decide to go outside the places that is intended for discussion and just belligerently yap all over subject matter because they are not capable of putting the conversation and the discourse in the correct place where it's meant to be had. And thus they fractionate their audiences all the way down to a sliver because they are incapable of actually including people into the conversation because they are solely focused on their own intentions and their own desires. Which for him is to basically say anybody who doesn't agree with me is not a real gamer. And therefore, they don't actually have something to respond to. They don't have actual things to claim. Despite realizing the top of the funnel and the bottom of the funnel exists, that the opinions of what the customer has to say towards the publisher and the publishing company and the developers on the side of the paying customer and the people who are supposed to be the consumers is separated by the opinion of the shareholders. And when you have something like Microsoft that can gain Activision Blizzard King and all of these other companies underneath them, they just act as a skinwalking suit for the company to try and yuck you out of your money because they think that you want the shit they're trying to offer you. But they're not actually able to offer you what you want. And they make you think that they can do so without actually addressing the thing that is actually important, which is you getting what you asked for, which is a fun experience. Not even necessarily just a good game, but a fun experience that you can be able to look back on and enjoy. And instead, you get bullshit and yelled at because how dare you ask for something that we didn't give you.
Stay-at-home moms. Exactly. Like, what? That obviously isn't true. It's not true. What it is, it's something like there's a lot of stay-at-home moms who've played Candy Crush a few times.
He's literally just jerking this guy off.
He's literally just jerking this guy off. No response. It's not real. It doesn't happen. Except that it does. Entire people losing their jobs in the industry. BioWare going up like shit. What was the Veil Guard? What is and what will be High Guard? What was Concord? What was Anthem?
And like, there's a lot of them. And like, therefore, we need to build to that market. Okay. Oh my god. Like, I don't want to get into a fight over like what a gamer is, but what do you think? I do. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. Think about this. Just think for a second. What a business plan to go after the young men primarily who buy a dozen $50 games a year.
You know what's funny? This strategy, this marketing strategy, would have kept video games as a niche that was deeply unpopular and considerably less profitable than it otherwise would have been.
No, it wouldn't have. You know how? Because they would have made things for people that appealed to them, and people would have been able to buy in instead of explicitly saying that they had to change. Because you wanted to force this constriction down people's throat, where if they didn't jump onto the bandwagon, they were called evil Nazis, and that they were part of an alt-right pop line. And it wouldn't have been the case that you wouldn't have had activists say gaming is dead, and gamers are dead and no longer have to be your audience, and then actually created the subterfuge that allowed for the takeover of the industry, that then led to the rot that we're currently experiencing, because those people don't really care about games, they care about using the platform. And when they lose access to being relevant to the platform, because they're no longer being given free money from the government to keep them alive with subsidies, they start rotting and dying and going the way of the dodo. That you're saying isn't happening when there are multiple cases of it happening. Quite frankly, literally, it is the result of Gamergate. You should have left the games alone. You'll never admit it, but we wouldn't be here without that.
If their market strategy that they're talking about existed, Pokemon would not be even half as popular as it is. Sorry.
Lies, because that appeals to kids, not just men, not just males or males and women. It appeals to everyone. It is a family genre. Are you so heartless that you can't enjoy the fat Pikachu? Are you so dead in your soul, sir, that you cannot enjoy a deliciously plump Pikachu dancing around with a Pokeball? Allegedly, people are living in an echoes of a house of mirrors, instead of recognizing for what it is. No, it must be a Trojan horse argument that's being made. Actually, the good news is that his own audience will turn against him, the chatters say. But they don't address reality. Not everybody thinks like this. Even if you wanted to claim that it was the people that listened to Asmongold, even if you didn't necessarily say that it was Asmongold himself, but it's instead the people that will hear him say it because he's a grifter, thus they believe it. You aren't proving people wrong. You're proving them right. Because then you won't listen to common sense.
Stardew Valley would have never existed. The Sims wouldn't be half as popular as it
Lie and lie.
is. There are so many different games. Fortnite wouldn't be probably like 40% as popular as it is, 30%. There's a fair number.
Fortnite would be popular, just as popular as COD. And then the reason why wasn't because of Save the World mode. It was because of Battle Royale and making a game that was free that allowed people to get hooked to it. Because many of the people who started playing Fortnite were children. It was considered the kid-friendly COD. So, we're just lying. Now we're just lying.
For women who play Fortnite. This idea that like all of these games must be geared exclusively towards men is just not something that makes financial sense. There is
Pause. No, you're wrong. It's not about making them appeal to men. It's about making them appeal to the marketplace of the people who are buying it. The inverse argument would be applicable and true if it were women. Who am I going to listen to? An activistic woman who says that if I keep appealing to women that want to do something like play a game that allows them to pretend to be a mother and go through motherhood, experience childbirth and childbearing is cringe, and actually it should involve an activistic female protesting fucking Greenpeace and protesting fucking PETA. Or appealing to the people who want to play the motherhood simulator game as a god game. Who do I give my money to? The people who already pay me for the thing that I already produce? Or the people who are demanding that I change the thing because they've never liked the thing and they will not buy it unless it changes? Where's the fucking meme? I don't like the thing. Oh no, they're going to change the thing that I want. I changed the thing, and now the people who wanted it before don't want to have it now. Do you want the thing? Nah, I wasn't really interested in the thing. I just wanted to have the thing changed to my specifics. Thousands of things for you to play, but none of you enjoying what you're playing because you don't actually appeal to it, because you don't actually like it. You're just going through the motions. That's never happened before. That's never moved the needle when it came to the paying of the projection cycles. We don't have the studies that came from the developers and the publishing companies and the shareholders that showed that this actually lost people cash when they made this fucking deal. No! That didn't happen! $200 million games in the hole? Preposterous. There's thought.
There's money to be made because women play video games. Getting women into video games is good for the companies that make video games.
If you have to destroy your market base by trying to appeal to another demographic, instead of simply just drawing in a new demographic by doing something that will attract them while still appealing to your main demographic, you are making an ontologically retarded business decision. Ontological. Not deontological. Ontological. Load-bearing. You are making a load-bearing mistake that will destroy your company, as many companies already have and did. Because they are drying up and dying and going the way of the dodo. Because they're not able to make a game that is able to survive in that marketplace. Again, so many games have closed last year. And not a single fucking dev, not a single fucking game journalist can tell me the reason why. Because they didn't play the game to begin with. And the parts of the game that they did like, that they did play, it's not enough to keep people playing it. The gun animations that were inside of Concord, that were smooth and were good, those gun animations were not enough to justify the lack of content that that game had. The content that existed inside of a game like Radical Heights, produced by everybody's favorite dude bro in gaming development, Cliffy B, wasn't enough to keep it alive, even though it was a very solid competitor in the marketplace for a battle royale, because it did something different than Fortnite. The same way that currently Eternal Return is a great demographic. And yet, these demos, despite the supposed appeal to the male and female, you're forgetting the secondary appeal to the actual demo groups that are more than their genders. If I show you somebody that wanted to enjoy the appeal of Eternal Return compared to League of Legends, I can almost promise you the League of Legends player is not going to want to play that game. Even though some of the skills are actually coded the exact same as some of those characters. Not because they share developers, but because the idea itself is something that is popularized with Koreans, who are the main demographic that play that game, since it's made in their time zone. But Americans are allowed to play it. Just like how the Blue Archivists are the ones that are the part of the UO Brigade that love themselves some cutie. If I would try to bring people that like one type of demographic with a game demographic of another type that likes a certain game demographic, and I brought them into something entirely new, they would have to find things in it that appeal to them that are like the thing that they're used to playing. A sniper player in Overwatch 2 / Rivals finding appeal with the marksman and mage characters that specialize in sniping. The brawlers and bruisers inside of League of Legends that love spamming first lock top laners. Finding appeals in the fighters and the tanks that revel in brawling and healing in the middle of combat. And so on, and so on, and so on. Who cares if they're male? Who cares if they're female? Who cares if they're transgender? I care about whether or not they actually like the game loop of playing a battle royale that starts you off searching and looting piles as you compile together your equipment, and then you duke off against other people, and then the game loop is about you killing them, getting money and experience from destroying things and collecting things on the map so that you can then build up better, more in-game weapons to then take them out in a final off-stand where you start with like a squad of 3-man teams of 10 and you duke it out until there's only one squad left. Either kill or be able to escape the island. Compared to the experience of Fortnite, there are plenty of people who could get into that very easily. It's very simple to pick up, and it can appeal to anybody, even though it wouldn't be for everybody. In your mindset, you think that that's not something that's possible, because actually it needs to appeal to men and or women collectively, otherwise it's bad, which is fucking ridiculous, dude. I roll. You're so lost because you don't see outside of the single player mindset that you have here, where you pretend that this shit has never happened when it in fact does. Should you talk to people? Should you indeed suffer the same fucking lolcout connection as Shark03 and as Smash JT and trying to fight against something that is obviously true and pretending that, well, see, Asmongold didn't say it, so actually I don't believe that. Are you really gonna go there? I hope you do. And if you don't go there, I'm gonna take you there. I'm gonna take you there. Because then we can look at examples of exactly what happens when a person who actually is a media grifter, who doesn't believe what he says, doesn't know what he's talking about, and behaves the exact same way you do, top of the head, says, I do play video games, but is a hyper-casual that can't actually speak on any of the things that he likes, because he doesn't have the ability to do so. Because it's just tourism! You play all these games, allegedly, compared to you in the past, to you in the present. You play all these games, but you can't actually describe the thing that keeps you playing them, which then allows you to then find the demographic of the other games that you like playing with the other people around you that like playing them, so that you can have a reflection that looks a lot more like this, rather than what looks like this. Go back in the past. Boom. That looks more like this. There's a difference here, Irrelevant, between these two things. And even going further back, between more of those things and more. We can even go further back in your account to 2023. Same thing is happening here. Instead of just saying these things, you are doing it on camera. Let's go back to 2022. Same thing again. Even more examples. In the world that I live in, Irrelevant, in the world that I live in, a person who knows these things shows it. You don't have to say it. It's there! It's there in front of you! It's not hidden! You're proud about the shit! Not anger, not soying, not cringing, not spurting out. Passion. You're passionate about it, and you don't hide it. For some reason, you're hiding it on your channel. Is it because, oh, it destroys the algorithm and I can't have my gaming stuff in the same place, blah, 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 blah. Okay, apply that to your YouTube account. Why is it not on your Kick? Why is it not on your Twitch? Are you not demonstrable as a part of the modern audience that people love to brag about being the replacers of the current generations that, quote, play their forever games? Why is it that you're not showing the same representation now compared to you in the past? Because you in the past would disagree with you, apparently. Because you were playing it live on camera. You could, in fact, say that you know what you're talking about, but I don't believe you. Because I don't see it. It's not here. It sounds more like you're trying to argue against Asmongold than you are trying to fulfill a point. But we're going to suss it out. We're going to suss it out. We got an hour and 10 minutes until we go there. And before all that shit happens, about like 5:30 into the debate, I'm gonna have to take this. I have to go the stream down and then set up the actual this response stream. And it's crazy about the fact that literally, as we're doing this, Asmongold is still correct in his point, and the fact that he has information that supports his point in the clip. Wick's asking me right now for the clips in question. 1 second.
It's actually so things that appeal to me. Don't appropriate video game culture.
Not okay because it's not appealing to you. Like,
Yeah.
for a white man, especially, this is like
Yes.
enough of a
I'm not sorry. It is.
man, especially. This is like
Yes.
enough of a criticism. That's it.
It's just really, really dumb. I don't know. It's like a bunch of fucking people who go to McDonald's complaining about like how restaurants fucking make food. It's like, bro, you just eat slop all day. Animal Crossing's a good example. That game literally would not exist without women. Like, I gotta imagine Animal Crossing's at least 70% women. Like, at least 70%. This idea that like
70% women, not only women. Continue with your take.
like these are good games, by the way. It's just predominantly women. Like Animal Crossing's a good fucking game. But this idea that it just all needs to be catered towards men makes no financial sense. They're just looking at these like fucking.
That's not the argument that most people make, and that's certainly not the argument that I would make. And I don't think that's Asmongold's argument, but when you say it's like you eat fast food all the time, and you go to McDonald's and you eat McDonald's food, and you complain about how fast food companies make their food, yeah, I can be allowed to say that. Excuse me. I can be allowed to say that when I criticize a fast food company that I don't want them feeding me artificial meat against my will without informing me, as you need to inform me on the nutritional value of your meal. It needs to be presented as such. Like the Impossible Whopper from Burger King. It is the fact that if I eat fast food, I would like to know that I'm actually eating something that isn't just a Soylent Green substitute. The same way I'd like to know that if I'm playing video games, I'd like to know that there isn't AI in the content. Here goes the coughing again. I'd like to know that there's not infinite AI generation in the content if I'm not a person who went in and I said, hey, I'd like to have an AI game that's AI generated with AI generated assets. But I instead was asking for something that was made as a labor of love from a group of people that were male and female, or just female. Let it be Silksong, let it be Exile 1, Exile 2, let it be Winterboro, let it be Dispatch, what have you. If I go in to the game store, which is to say Steam, and I have to discover a game like Clicker Heroes 2, which has had no development time put into it, and was abandoned 4 years ago by Playsaurus, the developers behind the original Clicker Heroes game, which highly monetized you for money, and was also summarily abandoned. If I go into Steam and I try to find games similar to that, I'm going to want to find something that fits within both, one, my boundaries, my interests, and my takes. If it doesn't appeal to my interest within my boundaries of my tastes, I don't buy it. Otherwise, what are you talking about? Who cares about what the makeup of whom doing what is? You're doing the exact same equation that they did that killed Saturday morning cartoons oh no, we have this show that is supposed to cater to boys, but actually it's 70% fucking girls. We have this show for girls that caters effectively to a market of boys that reaches over the numbers of what we want. We want the boys for the boys and the girls for the girls. So what should we do? Should we allow both of them to exist and whoever likes them, and just build up the popularity of both? No, we should kill the show meant for the boys and try to, we should kill the show that is meant for the girls and try to promote the show meant for the boys without actually understanding their demographics and what they like. That's destroying both of them and canceling them because we're retarded and don't know how to listen to our fan base or to the money that they're showing us with the merchandising. Hi, NeoJ. The inability to address this comes from a place that has somebody who doesn't understand the appeal of a marketplace. Certainly, he needs to listen to some Chris Wilson. Ridiculous. Ridiculous, sir. It's definitely ridiculous within any metric of common sense.
Dragon Age, Veilguard examples, or fucking, you know, whatever the fuck examples of, like, games that they can call DEI. They're just going, like...
I don't care about them being diversity, equity, and included. I don't care about them having bridge standards. I care about whether or not they're good. It appears that people did not like the Veilguard because it was not good. People have noted and confirmed that they would have preferred that they continue sticking with and working on Anthem than abandoning that game to work on the Veilguard. Because guess what? BioWare's dead. Dragon Age is dead. And it's not coming back. And it is the fault of people like Caroline. And unfortunately, when it comes to the addressal of that problem, guess what happens with the actual media grifters like Shark03 and Pepsi Simplifier and people like you and people like Smash GT. They don't address that. And they instead make it about, oh my god, this person killed my game because they're transgender. Which brings to the point, why should people listen to him as much as they can listen to an actual industry professional, like Colin Moriarty? And the answer is because Colin knows what he's talking about. The appeal shows itself through the numbers, whether or not people like it or not. Ultimately, the monetary gain does not reflect the actual criticism and the critical opinion of the game. Because if we just go by who bought it and how many are invested in it, you're not telling the whole story. There's the culture argument and edge that you have to speak to. And the people who can't speak to the culture are people who ultimately aren't in the culture. And nobody who doesn't go out of their way to try and gatekeep you from it, keep you from the games. There's something that's keeping you out of playing them. What is that thing? Yes, that is exactly what happened to Generator X. It's what happened to several fucking television shows. Not just the Saturday morning cartoons either, but pretty much the entire story of Cartoon Network Online. The greens should almost be ready. I need to start preparing that. We're an hour and a little bit away from the debate, guys. Get your water, get your drinks. Get your water and get your drinks now. even better. Hopefully that problem doesn't recur itself. Now this is actually alcohol. Always when I leave the room. An interesting diatribe I see from this chat room. We will see the day when he tries to pivot his bullshit in a different direction. Living in an echo chamber of a house of mirrors will do this to a man. Behold a white pale Trojan horse. I wonder if he's going to take this approach in the debate, where he's going to say that this is the case and any person who thinks differently is just peddling gamer bro nonsense that will eventually attempt to peddle it in the other direction, because this person must believe something that they certainly cannot fucking prove. So it's just an accusation and reputational damage at a distance. Mind you, this is all in the context of people are going to respond this way because they don't have the ability to respond to something that's being said. He is hoping that nobody knows the further context of his opinions from his actual shit because the clip is more viral than the actual take.
Like, oh, integrating women in gaming is bad, but they completely ignore the phenomenal successes.
People like me don't ignore phenomenal successes, and I don't think Asmongold ignores it either. It's that the amount of them are not as big as the ones that happen to be successful because they didn't specifically go out of their way to try and silence one demographic over the other, which is something that leftists have actively done, because that is the Bayonetta principle at play. That is the Bayonetta superposition. You decide to say, Chuds have never liked this to this has always been for us. You guys are the tourists, actually. And that happens to male and female games. Hell, it happens to male games that get co-opted by people who say that it's actually for females, but what it actually is the AGP. Especially if we're talking coding.
Or the mom who once spent 5...
My girlfriend plays Animal Crossing Stardew Valley. Oh yeah, Hogwarts Legacy is another thing that has, I guess maybe not super surprising, women audience, right? A lot of women play the game. I know a lot of women who play the game. The game's pretty good. Like, yeah, that's another one. That is a good game that also women played, that also targeted women. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seemed like that was a general audience targeted game. It was good. It was solid.
It didn't target women solely. It targeted all people. It welcomed everybody in. It didn't go out of its way to say, fuck you, man, don't play this game.
Men play it. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just annoying. It's just, again, it's particularly more annoying for video games because I love video games so much, and there's so many...
Then why aren't you playing them on camera all the time? Why are you doing nothing but politics? Your actions don't reflect your views.
Good video games to just hear people who know nothing. You know what I might do? I'm so passionate, I might make a video.
Asmongold knows nothing. I'm going to make a video demonstrating how Asmongold knows nothing, instead of just playing games on camera and engaging in the material.
I might make a video on how video games are not dead anymore, you're just retarded. I might make a video on this because there's so many games that are just ignored that were recently made that are phenomenal. Path of Exile 2, fucking Project...
Path of Exile and Exile 2 are games that are not played by the majority public because our game is the game that they look at and they mock and say, haha, the new path tree is gonna have like 1% modifier increase. Look at all these nodes. Who the fuck's gonna play that game? They mock our shit, Irrelevant. Actively. Because they say they can't get it. It's too big brain for them. Despite the fact that Exile 2 is meant to be the one that onboards them into Exile 1. And is easier and simpler for them to get. They say from a distance they can't try it. It is a historic pain point. And no, most people do not play ARPGs. They are more likely to go to Warframe than they are to Exile. That would be why, at the Game Awards, they featured a spot for Warframe. The same way that they could have featured a spot for Soulframe, but they did not. Even though that game is also in development at the same time. Our game is not considered the cozy game of ARPGs. And yes, they are good, but people will sleep on them. Because they will say, I could never get into it. Which is what actually keeps them out. Which is, again, the problem. Which is not a problem, but is a feature of the selection process. I don't think it's for me. It looks too complex. I can't get into it. Ooh, there's a free weekend. Well, my friends are playing it, and they invited me to play with them, so I'll finally be able to go along and play it. Oh my god, I can't believe this game is so good. Why did I keep sleeping on this? Because they thought it was too complex. They said the same thing about fucking Elden Ring. They said the same thing about fucking Soulsborne. They said the same thing about Demon Souls. They said the same thing about Dark Souls once Dark Souls 1 came through. And 2 and 3. They said the same thing about many games they said were too complex. Which is why the industry went the direction of making fucking upgrade links that were movie games. Which for some people, they find compelling because it's a narrative game that's telling a story that then has good enough, passable enough gameplay to keep them invested. Which then becomes their stock response when we say things like God of War doesn't have satisfying combat, and they show a simulator that is basically pressing X with the least amount of character action possible compared to an actual character action game like Devil May Cry 1, Devil May Cry 2, Devil May Cry 3 on the HD edition, Devil May Cry 4 on the special edition, or Devil May Cry 5 on its special edition. And all the different ways that you can engage in the gameplay for all the characters that are applicable. Or any other game that does this exact same quantity. Or even the ones that for the fighting games have now themselves become, or for the Bullet Heaven, Bullet Hell, Danmaku games, have become a simulacrum of a roguelike. Like that of Touhou Dystopian. Or like that of Blaze Brew Entropy Effect. There are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of things that try to find ways to reinvent the wheel to get you to be invested in them. Which is why half the world fell in love with something like Balatro. Did the world get told that if you weren't a person who loves autism simulators, you shouldn't play it? No. Did they get told that if you're a woman who has breasts, that you should ignore the game? No. It just was a game that was good, with a good loop. And it appealed to people who found themselves interested in doing it. Where they kept telling themselves the appeal of, come on bro, just one more hand, just one more hand. Once I get to Endless, I'm gonna see how far I can take this build. Just one more hand, just one more hand. The same way that you could say, in appeal to Civ 6, Civ 7, Civ 5, one more turn, just one more turn. I know that I could be able to really perfect my position on the map, even though I'd already conquered everybody, but my particular form of win state, if I just play one more turn. Not only did I conquer them cultural, but I could have also been able to dominate them by dropping the fucking nuke on their capital, and shit like that. The world and the definitions and the examples spin eternal, that you do not have to pander to, and you have to create for, and only target one type of demographic in order to make a game that is good, and be able to make a game that appeals to multiple people across the fucking spectrum. But it is your case that you want to go in with the DEI argument. So you have to discount all of the examples that didn't aggressively do this. Because you were trying to focus on one type. Despite the fact that you're saying this in the same game quantity that comes from the same interest that Asmongold has. Because I'm pretty sure he probably plays these games too. It's just not the one he's known for playing. And so you're attacking him, saying that he only plays one game when he actually plays plenty of games. In fact, him playing those games is the reason why things like Megabonk ended up taking off as much as they did. Because people saw that and they're like, oh my god, this is so fun. Haha, this is so fun, this is so cool. But again, we're back to lying again. We're back to being facetious again.
Project Zomboid, like all of these games that are good, and even some of them targeted towards men, like Path of Exile is targeted towards men, and this idea that like there's just no good games anymore, Red Dead Redemption 2, like there's so many games that I could go on with this list, Ready or Not.
Having single-player games is not the same thing as having good multiplayer games. Because the various point that you have to understand about single-player games is that they are a finished experience. Unless there is some type of downloadable full conversion mod or additional forever game DLC that allows you to play an infinite loop, not accounting for the looter shooters like Borderlands, which by itself is reciprocal, but they do have content that allows you to do it. Unless there's some type of full conversion mod, or there's some type of mod experience that you start adding to, that you just play the game again on a new file, and experience all that new modding experience. These games are finite with what they can offer you. If you look from that perspective and only suggest that with the single-player games, you're missing the fact that if they're not roguelikes and roguelites, then they are not able to offer a reciprocal experience. There's only about 300 hours of content you could have in any one particular single-player game that is a modern standard, and Western RPGs and JRPGs of that fashion. Once you get to the end of, let's just say, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, that's the end of the content. Then you have to get back on that content in Witcher 4. Sure, you can play the original trilogy, you can play all the content in the original trilogy, you can play it multiple times, but the content's not going to change. Versus, you play the original story of Baldur's Gate, both a normal run and a dirge run, and then you play the mod that allows you to basically turn it into a roguelike, and you gain loot in between waves to then be able to armor your character, so you can then attempt to win in a version of Honor Mode that effectively is a roguelike experience. Unless you have something like that, it is a finite experience. People want something that they can play both online and with their friends, that is a fill for the forever game. Which I think is the quantity that you're missing here. The forever game is what holds them, so that they can then tourize other games. They can come back to their forever game. They play other things, but this is what keeps them on their time. This is where they made their fan base. This is what made them their content, if it's what they popularize themselves from, and make content from, and grow their audience from. They're able to go from the tourism to experience new shit, come back, and collect people to then build. When I go and play Once Human, I am ultimately playing with the server only. Because on the first experience, when I went in by myself and allowed myself to be invested in it, people tried to find a way to try and stop me from playing the game because they actively were jealous of me playing for as many hours as I did. Creating actual drama to entertain themselves because they weren't there to play the game. They were there to be involved in a social contagion. That kind of behavior is what people are concerned with what kills games. Especially if it's the gossiping shit. Because the gossiping shit, the drama that's happening in the game, isn't actually the game. That's just entertainment that they chew popcorn for. That's not the real experience that ties people together. Now, for non-gamers, and for the people who are just sitting there watching, that aren't actually engaged in having the experience, this can be a replacement for it, but those people aren't gamers. They're just drama lolcows. And they are suctioning onto what effectively is lolcow tartgun milk. And milking it for everything that it's worth. Because they're bored and they're looking for something to entertain them that is a replacement for actual consumption. Because whatever forever game that they're playing, they stopped playing it to pay attention to the thing. Or they're doing it at the same time, so they can be abreast of the situation. Use Arc Raiders as an example. Use Baldur's Gate 3 as an example, if you mod it or unmod it. Use Path of Exile 1 and 2 for an example. Any game can serve as the forever game that then is used as the platform for whichever people then choose to tour through other content. If you get stuck in forgetting that, then you're not talking about real gaming. You're talking about this insular dejection of actual social context, which then makes it impossible for you to have a conversation with, because you're not concerned with what actually is ruining online experiences. It's not single-player games that just exist alone. It's not multiplayer games that just exist alone. It is the actual camaraderie of meeting people and growing out what gamer means to you. And for you, that is something that is very pigeonholed. You could probably say that even the opinion of Asmongold is very pigeonholed. But you can't criticize Asmongold because you don't even have the standard to be able to hold yourself up consistently for yourself. Because it's just based on what you hate. And gaming is supposed to be about what you love!
Pretty much exclusively men are gonna play Ready or Not. I don't think I've heard of a woman play Ready or Not. That's a good game. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Dollars on Candy Crush. Like,
He's laughing at it because it's so fucking stupid. Joe Rogan does it. Joe Rogan apparently had to quit playing video games because he got so fucking addicted. So, but even he knows this shit.
And there's kind of, and if you say that, if you put it the way I just put it, they're like, that's so sexist of you. Well, why don't you want to bring in new audiences? I saw this. I saw this in Silicon Valley. What I called it was
no response to what he just said. He's still doing the clip chimping thing where he's speaking between the argument instead of addressing what the argument said. He still hasn't done that, by the way.
I said there's too many people who drink Starbucks and not enough who drink Mountain Dew. And you...
Oh my god. This is our guy, man. This is our fucking guy. Wow. Holy shit.
Exactly what I mean when I say that. Like, exactly. It's just, it's a...
Yes.
Manosphere cringe logic. From yet another chatter inside of his chat. Irrelevant has nothing to say! Irrelevant has nothing to say!
It's been a really bizarre thing to watch in all of these different industries.
Yeah, it's a mind virus. It's
a little bit of a dog whistle there? I mean, it's not even really I mean, yeah, it is technically a dog whistle, but like...
It's not a dog whistle! It is a fact of business! These companies have to make games to make money! If the game is bad because they appeal to people who don't buy the game, they lose money! They shut down! They get reabsorbed! They get purchased by another competitor that then puts them into the fucking mines. Isn't that right, Microsoft? We're denying the reality of the truth. The truth of the matter is, if you don't make good games, this is your future. And I do mean that in the Nutty Professor way. This your future. This your future. You're going to be inside the cod mines. You're going to be inside the cod mines like Treyarch, like Raven, like 343. That's your future. You're gonna turn out current year slop that doesn't hold a fucking candle to actual content. A actual $15 video game made in a cave with a box of scraps. Because none of your market research beats a good game loop and a good fun fucking music tune. This your future. It cannot be Manosphere incel bullshit. Because why did Blizzard get acquired by Microsoft? Because they lost market value. If you can't even explain this without having to invest in the cultural aspect. Because it's not just that they lost money. It's not just the cold hand of capitalism moving the marketplace. It is, again, the conversation happening between the shareholders, the people who buy games, the customer base, and the publishing companies. And the shareholder can often get in between this part of the discussion. But the fact of how Blizzard got acquired by Activision to then acquire King, that then get acquired by Microsoft, is that Blizzard lost identity. They lost sight of the culture. They went from making something that was beloved into making something that was garbage. Because they hired a person who cared more about monetization than about content. And now they try to scramble back to go make that. And it's been touch and go. Where there are some people who like what they're offering there in Diablo 4. And yet, if I was to pull out that one picture, despite all these people who are doing it, look at how many people go to Path of Exile 2. You need all pieces of this. You need the economic side, you need the cultural side, and you need the community side. If you don't have those three things, then you can't explain this phenomenon. And if you reach out for a political understanding and for a political explanation, and you say, oh, it's because they're just man-meaties they are nostalgic for the past and they just hate people and they hate when they don't get what they want, then you literally miss the forest with the trees. And then you sound like that guy attacking Thomas Maury. You look like somebody who doesn't understand it, who actively was responsible for destroying the thing and putting them in a position where they could be acquired by Activision, and where Activision Blizzard King could be acquired by Microsoft. There's like all the other companies underneath them. Whack.
Like, it's like dude is being pretty obvious with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's just feeding the Asmongold narrative here.
Feeding the Asmongold narrative, also known as the truth.
One of my favorite questions to ask people is, starting a company's hard. You'll fail most of the time even when you don't constrain yourself to trying to change the social system. Like, look, if you could make it where there's all those moms all get into games and it was free. Like,
Here's the best thing about it is that the games that moms get into are like World of Warcraft. There are more soccer moms playing World of Warcraft than probably there are, like playing a lot of these other girl games.
Is he just making shit up now?
Is he just making shit up? Is he just lying off the top of his head? Am I gonna fact check it live on camera, like my daddy Destiny, and find out if it's true? No. I'm just gonna say, bro, is he schizo? Is he just lying instead of investigating it? Question mark.
Where is he getting this information?
From the appeal of people who are actually playing the video games and discussing that they came from having exactly no experience and they got into these games and found camaraderie. Just like all the people who used to have that, and they got tired of the annoying twinker who kept coming into squads and going into clans and going into guilds and going into raids and trying to police people about how they should properly play, that they're not playing efficiently, and that they then left to go play Final Fantasy XIV. There are people who are getting into gaming, especially being brought in with opportunities created by people like Soda Poppins, that are finding themselves really deeply enjoying these game loops because they didn't have the ability to really get into it the way that people like us got into it when we were younger, and then grew up getting into it even more as adults, as we had more time to fully lock in and enjoy it. And it is the case that there are actually more soccer moms that are playing this than they are playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Or, if we want to be more accurate to what women are actually playing, Infinity Nikki and Love in Deep Space. Which, for the people at home who are playing the home game of SinglePlayerCarl, dress-up game where you design a cute character, feel good simulator where you goon out and watch the driest, most boring softcore porn scene that for all the girls are like, oh my god, I wish he'd do that to me. And I'm not exaggerating.
And the new Call of Duty, even there's that, yeah. This is the thing, I'm playing site, yeah, the one that everybody knows this.
No, I don't believe that's true.
No, it's a trade-off.
Investigate it. You didn't. You just said, nah, it's not true. How do you know? Are you playing those games? It doesn't seem like it. You said that if you play that game, it's a loser thing to do. You don't play nostalgic stuff. You play new stuff, which means you are a member of the modern audience. How would you know? Are you talking to them? If you were talking to them, you'd probably find out. But you don't, which means you must be playing by yourself. You play with other people, but you're playing asynchromatically.
Resource you would have put on your customer and put it towards them. One of the questions I ask people is just ideology. Imagine your job is to build for a company, and the company, you know exactly who they are. You know how many men there are. You know how many women there are. We don't have to say how many there are. Like, we're not, don't make it about one gender.
You're gonna make it 50-50 instead of make it based off of the amount that there actually are. That's what you're gonna say.
Versus another. It's just there are lots of men. There's lots of women. I won't pick a number. When you're designing this building, should you have the number of bathrooms that would best serve the actual gender makeup of the company, that would allow them to use the bathroom and get back to their desk without waiting in line, or would you do anything else? Like, would you pursue a different strategy? And if it's different, like, what would your strategy be? And maybe it's like, well, I would build it, 50-50. And if they say, well,
who the fuck is a lot of people? This is a made-up thing. What?
He cannot imagine an apple, chat. He cannot imagine an apple. An apple he cannot imagine.
Because it's, the easiest way to do it. I think that's fine. But if they say, well,
man, how about that?
I want to create an environment where it should eventually be 50% men and 50% women. I say, wait, you're a company, 90% men, 10% women. You think the men should have to wait in line 5 times as long as the bathroom? Because some logic might have more women who want to work in this company. And it's one of those really interesting dividing.
This is a horrible analogy for a business. So under this analogy, a business would only look at their current market.
Pause. I have 50% women and 50% men in the company, but in the places where the majority of the bathrooms are being held up, the women that are working on the high floor have male and female bathrooms, and they aren't able to utilize urinals in those male and female bathrooms. And on the lower floor, where there is majority men, there are more gender-neutral bathrooms than necessarily male bathrooms with urinals and actual toilet stands. Do I redesign the bathrooms so that there are more female bathrooms that allow for more stalls and wider coverage in more accessible places, so they don't have to pull a Hidden Figures and have to talk about you can't drink coffee from a pot you wouldn't even touch, about having to relieve themselves halfway across campus? Or do I design it so that the women can get to use the bathroom and go back to the bathroom at the same time, and the men use the bathroom and be able to get back to their desk at the bathroom at the same time, so that they can efficiently continue doing their work? Or do I go after any other design possible? Because in my head, I have to decide if I'm going to make a bathroom that's for the gender neutral, because I have to be mindful of the gender neutral, despite the fact that regardless of if they're transgender, gender neutral, demisexual, queer, questioning, or any of the other bullshit on the big gay philanthropy, they're capable of doing what is most effective for the business, which is pissing, shitting, washing their filthy, nasty hands, and getting back to work. Suddenly, we don't understand context. Holy fuck! This is hard for you to get! Crazy! Once again, you cannot imagine an apple. You are stuck clip-shimping because you don't have an argument with what he's saying. So instead, actually, it's just bullshitting with you and then you appealing to your chat room.
Market share and demographics, and never try to get a larger market share or different demographics, ever.
That's not what he said either. If I have people in this company and I'm going to try to do something that appeals to what helps me with the people that are the makeup of the company, am I going to go after a strategy that is going to be rational, sensible, and functional, that works? Should I actually analyze the problem? Or should I go after some other form of strategy to address the problem because I decided to take the advice of somebody who's like, well, it'd be really nice for the transgenders if you made the bathrooms gender neutral and incorporated like a European design that works instead of just using whatever that works. Which doesn't preclude that you couldn't use some type of strategy that incorporates that. Like, hey, what if the female bathrooms and the male bathrooms all get bidets? You have 3 bidets, you have 3 non-bidets. The ones that don't want to use the non-bidet, use the non-bidets. The ones that want to use the bidets, use the bidets. You've now made this into some kind of wacky war bullshit about market economy value and attempting to appeal to a marketplace standard, which would be precluded in the making things for people who will pay for it. This confuses you!
We have 50%, we have like 60% men and 40% women demographics. Let's not do anything to move the demographics in either way. Let's never do anything. We have 100%
so soy.
men and 0% women for our customer base. Let's never do anything about our customer base. You notice how this totally breaks down when you put it at the revenue end of a business? It's because when we're talking about revenue and making products, it just totally breaks down.
Questions where it's basically, do you want to solve the problem that allows you? Do you want to solve the problem, or do you want to feel good about not solving the problem? That's it. That's it. 100% Palmer. Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is CEO Van Duriel. He's the one, by the way.
Yeah, growing the customer base, increasing the market share. Like, this is the idea. The idea is very, very basic. I want to get more people who do this. Maybe you want to change demographics because you think you can milk men more for money. You can milk women more.
You don't have to change demographics if you have a working product. You just appeal to bringing in people. We can use the Exile 2 strategy. Rather than changing the entire video game to become Hello Kitty Island Adventure, the League mechanic is like an offshoot of Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Every single League mechanic that has ever been involved, the League mechanic currently inside of 0.4, it is literally inspired from Loop Hero. It is a combination of Path of Exile 1 synthesis combined with a reintroduction of the Exile 2 system of incursion with all of the flexibility and the repeatability of some version that appeals to heist. Didn't have to change the core gameplay loop of mapping, but it brought in a new context. Just like how the original Sekimas, which is to say the original Sanctum, was based off of Hades. And so on, 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 with all the inclusions of all the leagues and all the mechanics that then improved the core gameplay. They didn't have to change the demographic. They just designed something that would potentially bring people in with something new and inventive. You don't have to destroy your market base to go chase another market base. You can just include them in the marketplace. Find a way to bring them in while still appealing to the people who are already there. 6 minutes before I change the VOD.
More for money. Whatever the fuck. You think you can do these things. You think it's easier to do this versus that versus this. So you push, you advertise, you target an audience. That's business.
Whose company? Mod Retro?
Except if I'm doing advertisement and I'm supposedly targeting an audience, I would probably want to go as broad as possible, yeah? Not as specific as possible, yeah? So literally my job should not be to pander to just male and just female, but to pander to any person that I could potentially get business on. And I do mean pander. You are trying to get as many people through the door, like a businessman. Not to make them drive for their dollars, but to get as many people trying it as possible so you can get word of mouth going.
taken out of the Indie Game Awards because he was like a totally, basically, okay, so they were selling a Game Boy, but then it's not a Game Boy, but, you know, it's basically a Game Boy. It's a portable video game system, can't say Game Boy. And they're selling this portable video game system, and the proceeds for that portable video game system went to veterans. I don't know if it was homeless veterans, veterans with some mental thing, but it was a veterans charity. And the money went to that, and it had the Andurial branding because Andurial is a defense company, and defense, and there's veterans, and so you can see how these things fit together. Well, for that reason, the Indie Game Awards took his product off the market, and I think it was Indie Game Awards.
Sorry, he's yapping. Hold on.
But it was a veterans charity, and the money went to that, and it had the Andurial branding because Andurial is a defense
Oh, now you can listen. Very interesting.
Company and defense, and there's veterans, and so you can see how these things fit together. Well, for that reason, the Indie Game Awards took his product off the market, and I think it was Indie Game Awards. There was some other place that was like doing a what was that website that was doing this too? I don't know what it is. So yeah, since Andurial got public, I have no idea if they have or not. But my point is that yeah, psychos, yeah, absolute psychos. So they're so retarded that in their virtue signaling about how much they care about people, they've ended up now rescinding support for something that was directly funding and helping veterans. That's it. And so these are Gamergate didn't go far enough. Well, that's why I'm here. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's my best. The 2 fat retards, I remember them. Here's the problem, though, is that I don't know how many, but I know that it was at least, in fact, 3 fat retards. It wasn't just them. There were more. I know.
To succeed, or are you trying to achieve totally parallel social aims at the expense of the business? And companies are hiring a lot of people who think about it that way.
Yeah, that's right. They are hiring activists rather than workers. They are hiring, you know, believers rather than creators.
Disagree with this and say that this isn't happening. Go.
To come in and make the company better or to be a better product for the customer. They see it as to come in and affect that change.
Oh, he has restraint this time. Oh! So it is the case that it is possible that there are activists that are going into companies with the intention of trying to create a parallel perspective of society similar to your own. And that you're going to say, nah, it must be cope. And inventing things. Just like the chat's saying it.
Even if it takes the company in the process.
That's right. Because that's why they're fucking parasites. Because they don't care about the host. All they want to do is extract as many virtue points and as many social points out of it as possible.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna be done with this. It's just so stupid. Like we never do this for art. And in fact, we do the opposite. We look at people who are making pieces of art, pieces of media, and we say to them who are like, yeah, I'm not in it for money. I'm not in it for like making the best movie for every single person. I'm trying to make a piece of art that says a message that I believe in. And that's it.
Bullshit. Every single time that there has ever been a parasite that has attached himself to a company and then decided to change the company from the inside, from its internal culture to its philosophies, its mission station, its beliefs, the target for the content that they produce, and the actual expected outcome for its goal. It has always been to try and socially contaminate it from the inside out. We've seen it in films, we've seen it in television, we've seen it in short screenplays, we've seen it on online content, we've seen it in theater, we are seeing it in games. We have always seen it in games. Technically, it's always been there in games, but the actual meta-narrative of the experience of playing the game was more important than the proselytizing a person could have done. And even in trying to insert something that you would call political, they weren't so political that it was an endorsement of communism or socialism or whatever ism or ist that you want to say that it was for. They were still using the ideals to present a topic for discussion and then dissertating it amongst themselves, without forgetting about still making an entertaining story, which is the difference between using it as a pulpit to lecture and instead presenting a worldview that plays with the concept, which is what people mean when they say the game is being made political. It's being used as a pulpit to lecture about their politics and to get you to accept their politics, instead of using it as a way to build a world that the ontological of inertia is able to support, so that it is able to tell a story that is succinct and is fulfilling to the finality of what it makes, which is half the reason why people were all over the goddamn world praising Balatro last year, and this year singing the praises of the French video game made by Sandfall Interactive, which is to say, Clear Obscure Expedition 33. Much like I said on my dissertation and my wrap-up of when I gave that opinion about my opinion of the Game Awards and my takes and my pick'ems during and after and my analysis of it, just like how years before prior with JRPGs and Western RPGs like The Legends of Dragoon, people were able to get on with it and be able to attach themselves to it because they were capable of making a good game that had a repeatable process that was enjoyable as an experience to continue playing even past New Game Plus, and then again to experience the secondary ending because it was able to connect to you the way that they did with games of yesteryear. Just like niggas was crying over Livets, you were crying over character name removed, since I don't want to spoil it for the people here who haven't played it somehow yet, which technically includes me. That was the case of what happened. If you get so broken that you can't address that, it might be the case that you're lying out of your ass. 529. We're about to change VODs. For those of you that want to make sure that they don't get lost, this is the VOD for where the debate VOD is going to be. Connect yourself to that place And I will see you on the flip side in just a moment.